Welcome to FMK Anime, everyone. I'm your host, Meep, joined by my co-host, Makan and Dalaran. Say hi, you two.
Hi everyone, Dalaron Quest here. You guys know where you can find me. Twitch.tv/Dalaron Quest. That's Dalaron Quest. You guys can find me on the same handle on Twitter and YouTube. So, guys, feel free to give me a follow, give me a like, subscribe, and do all that good stuff. But you guys have heard this before. Let's get on with the show.
You can find me on Twitter where you know the handle data_Viking. But you can also find me on my OnlyFans in the parallel timelines where everything is evil and fucked.
Stay positive.
Yeah. And
Where'd he go?
God damn it. God damn it, chat. And Meep, where can they find you?
Hopped into the different voice call.
who moved me?
No one.
What? Okay, that was weird. Anyways, you can't find me. My Twitter will kill you. But if you wish, if that is your wish, at soul_king777. But minors, you can't follow me. If you follow me, I will take your kneecaps.
It is an 18 plus Twitter.
Yes. And this is a show where each week we watch a list of anime, and we can cut one anime at the end of the week. Thanks again for TFS to allow us to do this experience, and let's just start off with Vivy Fluorite Ice Song, Episode 10. Matsumoto and Vivy meet up with Dr. Matsumoto, who brings them to their allies, a newly reformed Toke, headed and reformed by Yugo Kakitani's granddaughter, and Elizabeth, who reformed the organization to want to coexist with AI. They manage to learn that AI who have not connected to the archive are unaffected, and that the archive that has been monitoring Vivy Matsumoto is the one wiping out the human race. Now, there's a lot of good to talk about this episode, but I want to bring up my critique of this episode.
Okay.
Sure.
I don't understand why we needed the scene of them going, Yugo changed, so we can change too.
Right?
I did not.
Like, who gives a fucking shit? The character was an asshole until the very fucking end. Was a contrived asshole till the very fucking end. And even then, they still fucking kept him being, like, he continued being cryptic and vague, like, the reason I did all this was, oh, never mind, it doesn't matter. Like, fuck you!
Well, he is an asshole. When he said, no, I'm not entitled to say that to you, I did enjoy, because, yeah, no, he's still an asshole. He's still, like, I don't think he changed. I think that his granddaughter is misunderstanding him. At least that's what I hope is happening.
I think his granddaughter is redefining him in post. Like, my grandfather was an asshole, but to get this moderate sect of Toke on board and established, I need to redefine his image in the world, even if he was a piece of shit.
Okay, I actually like that more if that's the case, because I did like his granddaughter. I liked the idea that they reformed Toke, and you can still see it has those extremists, because they're the ones that are like, no, all AI are our enemy, step out of our way, doctor. And then she's like, you fuckheads, guns won't solve anything. Flashbacks to all instances of Toke previously.
So I'd like to mention, when we're still talking about Yugo, how the fuck and when the fuck did he manage to find someone to make a fucking kid with, let alone have that kid grow up adjusted enough to get a kid of their own?
How in the fuck did Yugo Toke Boy have sex?
I'm assuming it happened because he mentioned in the Ophelia arc that I was so lost after the metal float incident. I never thought I'd be able to speak to you again. I'm assuming he had like some stand with someone at that point, but
who gave Yugo the sex? Who gave Yugo the sex?
That's a lot of assuming for something that was never mentioned or even hinted at.
Yeah, but when was it mentioned or hinted at that Dio had a kid?
Who had a kid?
Before it was revealed in an interesting way, but I don't think this is an interesting because how the fuck would this kid turn out this way? This kid seems fine. She seems okay. She seems like he had a good childhood. If Tokeboy had a kid with someone, it was probably another fucking extremist terrorist, and that kid would be raised by these extremist terrorist fuckheads and also turned out fucked in the head. Probably found some ass to get
All
fucked
right, all right,
and
all right.
fucked in the head and turned out more shit kids.
All right, I hear you. I hear you, right? And people's environments and conditions strongly affects the way they grow up, right? It's the whole nurture nature aspect of things. And I hear you on that, but also people have the capacity to change, and it is possible that with her grandfather and her being probably estranged because of his obsessive, behavior and everything else, that she has saw the world for what it is and realized that
He,
extremism on both ends is not the right solution
well,
and created the moderate sect.
this is also her granddaughter.
That's why I said grandfather.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also,
And also we
even
don't know
so-
everything about her yet. We've been
He-
shown the, I won't say bare minimum, but we have not been shown a lot.
but he also did say he left Toke after the middle float incident.
Oh.
Sure. Counter argument: he's still an extremist terrorist, as was proven when he came back like 30 years later. And his granddaughter spends her time growing up idolizing him by the way she fucking reveres him. She is
Well,
frighteningly well adjusted for someone who idolized a fucking terrorist lunatic.
I think that's the only bit she knows about him is that video. That's what I mean when I said I think she must be misunderstanding him, because I don't think she ever knew her grandfather because of his obsessive tendencies. I doubt he had anything to do with his children. But I will agree. The whole thing with Yugo was the weakest part of this episode.
I mean, maybe so. We can sit here and say I think, but we don't know shit because nothing was explained.
Well, I can't agree with that either, right? Because like we did get like decent exposition to the point where I was like, guys, y'all really have time to just be sitting around and talking about all this shit? People are fucking dying outside. Which, by the way, the fucking AI camera drones, fuck, those guys are brutal as shit.
Oh yeah, the first like 50 seconds of the show where it's showing it. Oh, just a little off topic. Yes, it does show the one thing again with the Vivy on top of the Ari Yashiki, with the camera glitching out. But just the last 10 seconds where AIs just start going crazy, and it's just the first few moments of panic. The kid trying to pull the stuffed animal, going, "Let it go." That was genuinely scary. Like
I was ready for that kid to die.
My heart was pounding.
Yeah, I was ready for that kid to fucking die. And on top of that, I was kind of okay with it because, like, let go, get me, like, you fucking little shit.
I mean, he's probably dead, just out of camera.
Yeah, he's almost certainly dead.
Oh, that, and when Vivy saves the guy and he's just horrified. That, I
want to,
there was
So,
just
you want to go first or should I?
you go first.
Okay, so that whole scene, right? There's like this ominous tone throughout the whole episode, including in Toke, that like people see Vivy and they get really scared. Specifically of Diva, because one, it's her song, and two, like the way that dude reacted when he recognized that he knows her as Diva, makes me feel like we're gonna get Vivy versus Diva, and that Diva has been possessed or corrupted by the archive, or she's actually the one who's doing all this shit. I don't fucking know. I hope it doesn't go that way. I don't need Vivy versus Diva in the end, because the whole Diva Vivy scene in the Ophelia arc was phenomenal, and it doesn't need to be tarnished.
I don't think it's going to go that way. I'm pretty sure when the archive was created, the person that created it, which I kind of think might be Vivy's creator, created it with the mission to destroy humanity.
Dal, I think you're misinterpreting thing. Diva didn't create that song. Vivy created that song, and she only shared it with one person, Matsumoto.
Yeah.
So they're not afraid of her because they're singing her song. They're afraid of her just because she's an AI who has been murdering everyone in the fucking city. There's
Yeah,
nothing deeper than that.
I don't know. They all know that it's her song,
Well,
and
they
all
know.
of
No,
Toke knows it's
no.
their song.
They
Toke
know.
knew it's their song because the doctor told them it was her song.
Oh, okay. Well, oh,
Yeah, and it was at least implied that this song was how the Doctor got the hunch that the AI war was coming.
mm.
At least that was my implication I got from it. I could be wrong.
Also, it is incredibly uncanny to hear Diva's song like sung by these murdering AIs, let alone so like off key and flat, and then seeing her understudy in the amphitheater singing it with like blood and fire everywhere, and I'm like, oh man, this good job, show.
Oh,
This sucks.
fucking and okay, I love how Matsumoto and Matsumoto were mimicking each other's movements this whole episode, especially when Cube Matsumoto was giving Toke the business. You fuckers have been giving us so much trouble these past 100 years. At least a thank you would suffice.
It is great to
I
see Matsumoto become human.
I mean, but at the same time, it's not these fuckers who's been giving them troubles for the last 100 years, because this is an offshoot that isn't related to the basis of Toke anymore. So even at the finale of the show, we don't know anything about Toke, and just introduced Toke, Toke 2.0, and hey, we're the good guys now instead of being the bad guys.
Yeah, I had that apprehension with Toke being, the good guys at the very end. Like, we gotta team up with our enemy to stop the greater enemy. But like, so far so good. I'll like they did in a way that isn't incredibly obnoxious in my opinion.
Yeah, they show that it was reformed, and they do give us insight to how there are scientists working with Toke, and there are multiple branches all over the world. Which, okay, that gives us a little more insight into how they get how they probably get their funds, how they get their tech, because they have people like Dr. Matsumoto who created time travel working with them. I can suspend my disbelief to believe that's how they get their tech.
And sure, if you think hard enough about anything, you can make up a reasonable explanation for anything, but they still haven't told us shit.
Yeah, the situation still stands that the show has done a bad job establishing Toke as an actual entity. Like, they're mysterious not because they've kept themselves hidden and because the show has never tried to unroot them, but because the show hasn't really established
It
them past the point of just being here is the antagonist and this is what they do in the world. But they how, who, why, and well, I guess we get the where and when, right? Because of the time. But like the show never really explores Toke.
and that's and I agree. I completely agree with you there. It's just it doesn't have the time to
Yeah,
is
I
the
get that.
biggest issue.
Yeah.
Because I understand why this ended up being 13 episodes. It's an original. There was no way it was going to get greenlit for 24 or 25. I do wish Toke was more prevalent. Who knows? Maybe we'll get Toke the Forgotten Stories as a spin-off at some point. But
I
yeah,
I mean, with
then
how
again,
unlikable Yugo is, I really hope we fucking don't. Not even
I'm sure the most
unlikable. I just
boring part of the show.
Yeah, I just don't enjoy him. Like the thing is though, like Meep, you're absolutely right. Like it almost well, I can't say that you're absolutely right, but I agree with you. I think it's the consequence of having a 12, 13 episode format where things will have to fall by the wayside. It's the natural occurrence of things. But the thing is though, like the show kind of just it's fine. Toke is fine. It's lukewarm porridge. They're there. They're a global terrorist network. We know what their like ideals stand for, and we kind of get what they're doing. It's just this is a good show. I like
but what
Vivy.
about
I like Vivy Fluorite song, and I think it's a good show. But like, I crave lore and detail. And while the show does a really good job at like visually, like showing parallels and growth in characters, some of its world building what's the phrase? What's the saying? Leaves something to be desired.
Yeah, and that's where I have to disagree with you because I think it is a greatly pretty show. It's well animated, and
At some parts, that
mus-
thumbnail on Funimation is ugly.
and the music is nice. I don't care about whatever a thumbnail looks like. It's not saying anything about the show. But I have to disagree about it being a good show because with the everything that's been tied up and brought to fruition in this episode, well, it was tied up as neatly as a pair of earbuds in a jeans pocket.
Wow.
Because the show isn't over yet. We're still not even
Okay,
at the climax. Of course, it's not going to be wrapped up in a neat little bow yet.
yeah, no, but they sure as fuck tied up a whole mess of bullshit from the last 10 episodes into this and kind of brought an end to that from a lot of things that happened in the 100 years. So let me get into some of them. Like I already mentioned, we don't know shit about Toak, but I do have to say this. Why the fuck is Vivy the main character? What's the fucking reason for it? What makes her so special? There's nothing. She's just another robot who sang a lot. She's so unfitting for the Singularity Project.
Because she's the person who changed Matsumoto's life.
I guess, sure.
He was entrusting it to someone he trusted.
I guess, sure, but if the AI uprising happened, and, well, why would he trust the robots that's killing everyone? And if he needed to trust a robot, why not trust the one that isn't going berserk? Beth.
Alright. Let's fucking talk about Beth.
Because I don't think in the original timeline she was there.
Why wouldn't she be there?
Because Toke Boy wouldn't have made that message that his granddaughter clinged on to, which was the reason they brought Beth back.
Yeah, there are differences in this timeline.
Yeah, no, but yes. Beth wouldn't have been destroyed either. She would have left the space station with Toke Boy and gone on.
Toke originally stayed on the space station, or at least in this timeline they were.
No. That's a compromise he was having to do because Vivy was there to try and stop them.
In the original timeline,
he and the others would have just left because there was no corpse of Beth there on the space station.
No. In the original timeline, right? Beth went down with the ship to kill Estella and kill everyone on there.
Yes.
In the original timeline, in the original timeline, she simply killed. Oh god, what's the blonde girl's name?
Estella,
and
how could you forget that scream? That distorted metallic scream.
Brain bad, and I have a lot of other things I'm thinking of right now. And simply piloted the ship into the ground, while in disguise, like she was last time. And then they just left after setting the course. Why wouldn't they?
No.
Why would they go down with it?
Because Estella took everyone when they crashed the spaceship into the oceans. Estella, quote unquote Estella, because it was Elizabeth posing as Estella, and a bunch of passengers that didn't make it out in time all died on there.
Yeah,
Estella's still on the ship. She just left the corpse of Estella on the ship after destroying her. Why wouldn't she? Or just
but the bodies were destroyed. They even mentioned that they were not able to recover Estella or Elizabeth's body because it was gone beyond a point. But because Elizabeth was taken over by Toke, they had a backup of her.
Yeah, in the new timeline, yes, but I'm talking about the old one. How that happened. Because
in the old one, they still go down with the ship.
Also, in the old one, we don't know what Toke's presence was in the old one. In the old one, Toke might have stayed an extremist terrorist group and not have a moderate sect break off from it.
Enough so Matsumoto was involved with them to learn how to do the time travel shit because he used their resources for it.
Well, we don't know if that's true.
Well, in the original timeline, he was still doing time travel. He just may have not been working with Toke for it.
Yeah. You're making assumptions here, Makan, that I can't fully agree with, simply because we don't know how Dr. Matsumoto. Oh, hello.
Hi.
Yeah.
There was a lot of clatter that just came through.
Sorry, I was moving my leg while I still had my comment.
It sounded like you just got up and left. I'm like, what? No. Yeah, we know that Matsumoto was able to do this, but we don't really know much about the original timeline. We don't know the presence of Toke. We don't know where Matsumoto got the technology from because his lab wasn't in the Toke facility, right? Was it in the museum? Was it
okay?
His lab was somewhere. His lab was somewhere else. It wasn't in a Toke facility.
Okay, well, seeing as you are not really into the idea of me speculating on what was here previously, and I still think Beth would have been around in some way. Um, sure, let's talk about the obvious facts then. Why is Vivy not murdering everyone?
Because they didn't connect to the archive.
She
She's been
did.
connected to the
She's been.
archive from episode 1 to every fucking moment until
Mhm.
now as well.
Yeah.
And this
She's
just
still-
happened.
Yeah, she's still connected to it. She's been connected to it the entire time, Meep.
No, they have
Yes,
to
she has.
access
No,
the
she has.
archive.
Yes. Well,
No,
guys, let's
she
not
has
yell
to
over each other.
access the-
She doesn't need to access it. She's still connected to it. Do you think every AI at the same time just went like, oh, let me go access the archive at this time, and then just everything happened, and then you started killing everyone? No,
Yeah.
it's just if you're connected to it, you're taking over. So why is she not taking over?
Meep, what were you gonna say?
I was going to say, because she was asleep for those 15 years, like Matsumoto, and Beth being the version of Beth they have being a non-autonomous model. Like, because we see when Vivy connects to the archive, it goes normal access detected. All those red lines appear around her.
Yeah, sure, that's when she's actually actively going in there, but she's still linked up to it, like all the other AIs.
Yeah. She was also in the archive before she woke up when she finished writing her song, and then when she woke up to the war.
So yeah, there's no reason why Vivy is not going berserk, and that is a huge fucking contrivance.
The thing is, though,
But we
like...
don't know if there's no fucking reason. There's 2 episodes left.
All right, guys, all right. Let's stop yelling over each
We're
other and just
expecting
discuss the
everything to be
situation.
answered in the 3rd to last
Meep.
episode.
Meep, I'm going off what happened. Every AI lost their mind simultaneously. Why did not she?
Well said, Makan. We don't know, and we're gonna get that explained in next episode, because this episode ends on a cliffhanger, to which I wrote in my notes, fuck you, show, and your stupid fucking cliffhangers. Because, you know, there's this big twist that's about to happen with fucking Vivy and the Archive AI. Which, is the Archive AI Navi? Because I never liked Navi, and, like...
No, Navi's another AI.
No.
It's like how Antonia was for
Okay.
Ophelia.
Okay.
The archive is the aggregate AI database in the Ariashiki, which, by the way, Ariashiki roughly translates to eight consciousnesses, which is a very big thing in Buddhism.
Yeah, it's also, like, a thing in religion, in Japanese mythos.
Well, that's not my only point I have to bring up as well. So, with Beth just showing up, fine and dandy as she was before the Sunriser incident, why the hell did they not just make a clone of Grace and then put that in Metal Float?
They did!
They made a
Psyche did!
Yeah, he made
went
a clone
after Grace.
He made a clone of her afterwards, which is acting like her, but clearly doesn't have all the fucking things she had. Why didn't they just clone her, leave the original one to do what her original purpose was, and just take this new one and go to fucking put it in the Metal Float?
Because first of all, that was like 40 or 60 years ago. Second of all, that was 60 years ago. Second of all, that was... the whole Grace thing happened against his will and happened super last minute, to which he didn't have a chance to create the clone. We actually talked about that in that episode. Meep, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that the Grace arc was what established that you can, in a sense, clone AI, but because of how Psyche feels, that wasn't the Grace he fell in love with. He wanted to save the Grace he fell in love with because he sees AI as human.
Right, yes, fair enough, but at the same time, my point is, if they had that technology back then, why waste the resources on putting an old model into this new ginormous structure that is very important when you could build a new one and make sure it doesn't have any old flaws or imperfections that is going to bring it down and make it stop functioning, so you have to replace it,
Well,
instead of just building a new one and putting in there?
It would be cheapest to do what they did. Use an old model and not make a new one.
They built a fucking Metal Island factory for fucking circuitry production. They could build another AI to put in there.
So why are there not more sisters? Why are there only like 6 sister models throughout the whole series? Like,
yeah, they can make like 500 of them, because apparently they can just clone them. Why not have just infinite amounts of them if they're so fucking good?
all right, so I'm gonna take a step away from this specific topic, and I want to address Beth, because I like Beth. I like Elizabeth even more. I think Beth kicks ass. She was an absolute badass and totally gave off Dinnerith energy. Meep, you cannot deny that. Uh, I enjoyed seeing her emotes, her angry self, her badass fighter self. However, regardless of how much I like Beth in this episode, I cannot help. It does not change the fact that it just completely retconned all the growth and emotion that Elizabeth recovered and expressed at the end there with Estella, just completely invalidating the end of Arc 2.
Well, it doesn't validate the end of Arc 2 because that still heavily affected
She,
Vivy and the way she acts.
sure,
It's
sure. But Beth was heavily broken under Toke's control. And they imported her, like, that format, that version of her, and now all of a sudden she's like, master this, master that. Like, we see
well,
Beth be
no,
like, fuck this asshole. I was taken from a scrap heap and turned into a weapon.
no,
No,
she
no,
in
she was angry at him for trying to throw his own life away instead of hers.
No,
So she went, "No, your life is more important than mine."
after Vivi reformatted her.
well, that reset her memories. She
That's what I'm
had no
saying.
memory.
No. After she was reformatted, she just went back to what her original task was with her original personality. She
Yeah,
wasn't angry at Toke Boy.
yeah. Like when she was reformatted, that was for Estella's growth of finally being able to do something with her sister.
Mm.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I just want to bring up my final point. This episode wrapped up for me.
Do you
You
mind if
say
I?
they've
Do
been
you mind if I stay on the
go.
Beth thing for a little bit longer?
Yeah, go ahead. Go finish up this, and then you tell me when I can go ahead with this.
Okay, so I understand where. Okay, so maybe I'm projecting my own feelings about the situation with Toke and Beth in episode, what was it, 3 or 4? 4, yeah. So okay, both of you guys said I'm wrong, so I'm willing to go with the public opinion on this one. However, that doesn't change the fact that I still feel like it completely invalidates the ending of that season, the ending of that arc. The
I
growth that Beth experienced, and just seeing her here, man, it's just like a slap to the face to that scene.
I think you might be misremembering the Estella arc because Elizabeth. It wasn't about Elizabeth's growth. It was about both Vivy and Estella's and how it affected Vivy as a whole. Like that's what this whole 100-year journey has been, and the breakdown scene of Matsumoto at the start of the episode when he's like, "I'm sorry I put you through this. You were made solely to sing." And she wants to continue to do this. She's become who she is because of her experiences. The entire 100-year journey was about Vivy and Matsumoto's growth and how they developed as characters, as AI, as people. And I
Yeah.
loved the scene where she's like, "What did my master say about me? What was he thinking about me in the end?" And you cut to Tokeboy saying, "Are you a bust of an AI who won't follow orders?" And Vivi dodges the question.
Yeah, she does.
I I liked that.
But I thought Vivi lied to her, but then she kind of gave her an indirect answer that actually kind of worked out better in the end.
Yeah.
I just found, I don't know, they didn't have to bring Beth back, and to me, it just, I hear you, right? And I know the contributions of that scene for Vivi played a big part, but I was far more invested in the emotional scene between Beth and Estella, and the very ending of that. That is still to this day my favorite moment in this show. Um, and just seeing Beth come back, as great as she is, and they're no longer distinguishing between Beth and Elizabeth, and just her being like, "Oh, master this, master that," knowing how fucking terribly Toke Boy Yugo treated her, and just it didn't sit right with me, and to me at least, it like invalidated everything that Elizabeth did at the very end. But we'll see what else they do with the character in these last few episodes.
I disagree. I don't think it invalidates everything that happened there because that led for Estella and Elizabeth's growth, and or not Elizabeth, Estella and Vivi's growth, and Beth and Elizabeth are like, because that scene with Estella, that was Elizabeth. Let's use quote unquote that was Elizabeth. It wasn't Beth.
Sure. I'm kind of in the middle here, but I'm leaning towards style side. I'm not saying it invalidated it, but it surely undermined it significantly.
Yeah, okay, fine, fair. At least undermined it. I'm also just not comfortable with the whole like abused person now, like master, master, and I'm like, this makes me uncomfortable.
And she seems to be serving in a decent person now, at least.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Okay, go
you
on.
wanna,
Yeah.
So, Meep, you said that Matsumoto and Vivy did all their planning in the in her headspace, which is untrue. They did most of their planning in secluded rooms by their lonesomes in the actual world. They
did a lot of significant planning in the archive.
They did do a lot of conversations in the archive.
They did like 3 different planning segments in their archive. They did far more in the real world.
Early on, the very beginning, it was strongly in the archive, and then in the end, it kind of came back to strongly hanging out in the archive.
I mean, the first one, the early ones, yes, but that's because Matsumoto was annoying her constantly and showed her that she could not escape from him in there because he could just come in there as well. And apart from that, and when they were talking and I have a promise to keep and everything, when she was making her music in the end, I don't think they ever used it for planning. But I have a major issue with the archive being the main villain because that means she was in here since episode 1. We have not seen shit about that, and we have not heard about that. They have not been actively doing anything that could out them. And it also means that this entire 100-year journey was entirely for naught, and they could never have changed anything no matter what they did.
But they did change things. It's about their growth, and they're there now. As Dr. Matsumoto said, you are at least here now. They have Elizabeth because of this. And now they have a way. They have a way, and now they have most likely have a way to fix it.
Yeah, you can think that. I'm going to continue with describing what my issues with it is, because what it amounts to for me because of that means that the Singularity Project was a pointless effort that didn't really need to be a thing. Sure, we got to see Vivy grow, but at the same time, that is focusing the majority of a story on a character's backstory. And I'm sure you could have taken far less time to show that a character has gone through hardships and is very sad than taking all of the show for it. I believe that you could watch the first 5 minutes of episode 1 and skip to episode 11 without missing much of actual value.
Oh man,
Then why watch through any show to the end? Just watch the Dio fight. Don't watch any of part 3. Just watch the Dio fight. The journey doesn't matter.
Yeah, no.
You might say what you want, but they actually accomplished a goal they set out to do, and they didn't. They always had a possibility of achieving their goal. Vivy did not.
Okay, so while
pointless fight.
You are reaching for things to hate this show.
I'm not reaching for it. It's been fucking glaring me in the face this entire episode while I watched it.
You are reaching for things to hate it over.
Okay. Let me be the moderate. Fuck, I have become Toke. No! I'm going to be in the middle here. I cannot agree with you, Makan, on the whole, fucking watch episode 1 and 2, and then watch episode 10, 11, 12, 13, whatever. No, nah, homie. That's... I don't think you're reaching, but that's a fucking stretch. However, the fact that it feels like nothing fucking matters, yeah, okay, I get that. No, let me rephrase that. Not that nothing fucking matters, because Meep, I agree with you. The journey, the growth that Vivy has done in the pursuit of becoming human, even though Estella has done it better than her, is still really enjoyable. That being said, I cannot disagree with Makan that while I'm okay with a last minute villain heel turn, surprise, the fact kind of stays that they really didn't have a chance going in.
Then why would the archive have changed and used Vivy's song for something? For this?
We don't know if the archive did or did not use the song in the original timeline.
Vivy wouldn't have wrote the song in the original timeline. It was about the Singularity Project.
Maybe. The only thing
Mm,
changed is
that's a
that
good
now
point.
that the only thing that's changed is now they're singing a song while killing people.
There's more to it,
Why?
Makan. There
Why
has
would
to be
the
more to it.
there has to be more to it. Like if it's the third to last episode, not everything is going to be wrapped up in a neat little bow.
Well, it's
Sure.
not about
I'm
getting wrapped
judging.
up in a bow.
I'm judging this episode for what I saw in this episode and from the things they revealed in it.
I did not expect this episode to be this contentious when we walked in. I expected there
But
to be some gripes, but fascinating.
you also have to, let something run its course before when it just shows the first little inkling. Like if I judge the entirety of Dio just based on part 1, that would be incredibly disingenuous and very very poorly for his character.
What do you mean? Dio
Me,
Part
because
1's amazing.
we're running a show here where we're judging anime episode by episode.
Also
But
true.
there's also a point where you have to be like, okay, this is setting up for something. It's not finished yet. You have to give a little bit of leeway, like we've done with Shadow's House.
Like I've done with this show leading up. I've always gone, well, I expected to do something good, so I'm gonna fuck it. And it's always disappointed me on that. It's never managed to do it well for me.
I can understand not enjoying something once it is revealed, right? When the illusion of choice. I think it's very human to be upset when the illusion of choice becomes apparent, is revealed. Where to think that, like, because, like, we look at characters and we enjoy them both as, like, a spectacle, as a theater, as a performance, but we also enjoy them as characters in our own way. Like, we empathize with them, we project ourselves onto them in ways that we find similar, and we kind of start seeing their experiences simultaneously through our own minds, right? Well, it's important to keep it distinct where it's like, okay, what is the show trying to tell me, and, like, what am I getting from this? I can completely understand how, like, at the big review, it's like, haha, you had no. Like, Makan, have you spent this show trying to figure out how everything will go wrong?
I mean, essentially, I don't have to because I just waited for the next cute character that was introduced and just waiting for how they get killed.
Yeah, you were never a fan of that to beginning, but I think this is something we really should revisit when the show at the end of the season. But I can get how, like, at the end being like, it was the archive the whole time, because there really was no inkling. Like, I love big reveals, but I also like to be able to look back and be like, oh my god, yes, there, and there, that was totally it. And who knows, maybe we'll get that in the next episode where we see threads pulled that neither of us three noticed. But I don't know,
Yeah,
man.
it was like last episode or the episode before that that I said, well, maybe if I watch through it after seeing the end, maybe I'll see how everything hooks together and strings together. But with it being revealed that it's just the archive doing everything, then there's nothing to string together. Everything else that happened didn't have any meaning towards that.
Regarding the arc,
I'm I disagree. I'm thinking that the reason why the AIs went berserk when they tried to use the shutdown program on Grace is partly on the archive.
you think that's like, oh,
I think that
interesting.
may have been the archive interfering because Grace is hooked up to that island, and like
The island is connected to the archive. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
I mean, sure, but
Like-
what's the point? It essentially has the same effect as them just shutting down the island anyway.
I'm interested in seeing. How do I put this? So remember how in the beginning of the show, Matsumoto Cube was like, we need to shut down, or I guess at that point it was still Bear Sumoto, was like, we need to stop the archive tower from being built. That is a linear progression of AI's development, and like the archive tower is an immediate estimate for the progression of AIs, and we need to stop that from being built. And that never
And
kind
why-
of happened.
Yeah, then why didn't they do that?
They never fucking did. In fact, they stopped Toke, who wanted to blow up the archive, and I was like, I was always confused about that plot point. I was always like, wait, I thought, but Matsumoto said the tower's a bad thing, like, we need to stop that. But then they never really stopped the development and progression of AIs.
they used it as a measuring stick. They didn't go, oh, we have to blow up the tower. They went, the more this has grown, the more it shows the evolution of AIs. We need to stop them from evolving and stopping these singularity points, because just the two of them, I don't think would be able to storm that tower. It's probably heavily guarded and defended. You can't really go Johnny Silverhand that tower.
I don't know.
Sure,
Vivy was
but
pretty
then-
advanced.
Then I have this question. Why the fuck did Matsumoto think his mission was complete and that everything was fine and dandy if the tower was still rising up erect like a motherfucker?
Because Matsumoto's arrogant. Yeah.
Because his mission were to stop these singularity points, which the moment they were done, his arrogance and mission was fulfilled. So he's like, okay, I'm going to wake up to see the fruits of my labor while, coming in to visit Vivy every now and again. And then he woke up and it hadn't worked.
I'm just
if that's the case, the entirety of Matsumoto's character arc is also thrown out the window, as his character arc was about how learning to deviate from his mission in order to look outside of the box to actually get towards how to finish it.
His character arc was about learning to interact and be, not competitive with his partner.
Well, his growth is that not everything is data, and to broaden his horizons and understanding of the world. Because his main flaw was that he was, like all AI, super mission bound, but extremely arrogant in his very narrow worldview, right? Because if he had his way, they would have killed Estella right away. Speaking of killing AI, Vivy in the beginning headbutts the girl who's about to kill the older dude, the human dude, and I'm like, oh cool, she's gonna reprogram her Beth, and then snaps her fucking neck, and I audibly shouted, "What the fuck? That's not how you share feelings!"
Because it didn't work.
The feelings is pain.
I legitimately can't tell if you're just being combative because I like this show or not.
I don't think it's... No, I think Makan has always had issues with the show.
Yeah, what you think of a show does not matter for my opinion of enjoying it. If you enjoy a show, great on you. I hate it.
Alright. So, we're going a little bit in circles in terms of, I think our positions on the show are pretty much known. We're going to hold up cards in a second, but there's a few things I want to hold up before we do so. So, the show did a funny, right? Because when the episode started, it had that countdown timer as it was, reviewing all the timeline diversion and all that stuff. And in my head, I'm like, well, it's nice of the show to tell me when the, how long the recap will take. And then fucking this clock strikes 0 and the robots start killing everyone. I'm like, oh no, go back to the recap. Go back to the recap. And it was just an immediate...
I wasn't really surprised. I felt like, okay, so when they hit 0, that's when shit hits the fan.
Okay. And it did contribute to the overarching cryptic, ominous, menacing aspect of what was about to happen. However, what I did find interesting about that little intro sequence is that they showed us, they didn't tell us, but they showed us that there are other timelines. We can see other timelines diverging from the main timeline. Not just the one that we're following, but we see this whole quantum web of divergent paths from each location. And I'm like, that's cool. So the show is acknowledging that this isn't the final story. This isn't, the best ending.
Sure, Dal, but I have another point for you. None of them go as far along in the timeline as this one, which means, and since the start of this timeline chart is Vivy on the stage, this means it's the timeline of Vivy, and all of those timelines, that means Vivy is destroyed except for this one.
Oh, you're right. That could be possible. That's true. I didn't think about that.
Which the effect still works. It still shows that this isn't the first time it's happened.
I got excited at the prospect, but Makan brings up a good point. The shorter timelines are probably failures.
Which is more interesting to me.
Mm.
And as far as... And as far as not covering the original timeline as well as this timeline, the show is already struggling for time as it is.
Yeah.
I think if they tried to do a King's game and went, oh, we're going to have this timeline and this timeline, no, that would be bad. So I can't agree with that criticism that it should have covered both timelines.
Well, no, I don't think that was a criticism. We're just saying that there is the existence, the show acknowledging that there are other timelines, and them potentially being the failures or potentially the better endings, is just fascinating. It's good thing to show. It like you said, it does not have the runtime to talk about it, but it's a good thing to show because it sparks conversations like we're having here, and it's also good content for the community to like discuss and theorize about. So I appreciated that.
What, maybe you don't want to play 5D Vivy with interdimensional time travel?
We
Vivy
don't have
chess.
enough. We don't have enough episodes for that.
We really don't.
We already lost some things in translation with Toke because of the time constraint. I don't want to lose anything else because of the time constraint.
Well, you know something that we haven't lost?
I'll be perfectly honest. I don't think the things we lost at Toke was due to time constraints. I think it was just due to bad writing.
Okay. You know what is something we haven't lost? Aesthetic. Vivi's outfit, that final form thing that she has right now, I fucking love that, and Beth looks pretty badass too. Like,
Yep.
when
It's true.
Vivy is fighting, she has that, like, fur collar, like, little cloak, and, like, her overall outfit is just, I love it so much. It looks so good in action and out of action. But also, we got some good action this episode. It was brief, but when Vivy rushed the fucking AIs that were about to gun down Dr. Matsumoto, it was really fast, but it looked cool. And the scene we have up right now with Beth just fucking, I don't know what to call it, but just like split kicking everyone. It was like, I approve.
Yes, the most ineffective kick in human anatomy history I've ever seen.
McCann, you crotchety bastard.
Dalaran, look at this scene of her kicking these two men. How would that have any impact at all?
It's cool, man. Just let the coolness happen.
It's cool, but me having trained some sort of martial arts in my life, wait a minute.
No, I know, but it's cool. She's got robot legs, and also this art will inspire artists. Anyway, let us hold up cards.
I'm gonna fuck the show. We're at the climax. Next episode is probably gonna be a whole lot of action with Vivy, Matsumoto, and Elizabeth storming the tower. Things are gonna go down, and I'm excited to see it through. I'm gonna fuck the show.
Well, my entire opinion on the fact that I think the majority of the story was, well, basically filler, in my opinion, is still persisting. Early on in this show, I'd said that I think the show didn't get enough time to do everything it wanted. With a show of this, I feel like it had too much. I think it would have been much more concise in a 2 hour or a 2.5 hour movie instead. But as it stands, I think the story is a jumbled, atrocious mess. And no matter how pretty you are, no matter how well you dance, and no matter how well you sing, it doesn't excuse the contents of your character. I'm killing the show.
While I want to engage you right now, Makan, regarding the fact that I disagree with you, I think we have not talked in. It's not whatever. I think we've reached what we could when it comes to that discussion until we see how the show ends. So instead, I'm going to say this. While I have my gripes with the show, I'm in too deep to pull out now. I am feeling a little bit apprehensive because this show still has a lot riding on it. Haha. But yeah, no. Fuck this cliffhanger. Just they didn't have to leave us off on the fucking thing that like really would have explained everything. But you know, it has us interested. It has us invested. I'm gonna fuck this show. I think this show has had a number of details kind of fall by the wayside. Just too many balls to be juggled in the format that it has. However, I'm curious to see where this is, not only where this is going to end, but what it's going to do with what it just set up and on the great reveal, because even the review of the archive was like dun dun dun, but they didn't talk about it. They didn't go into it or like what it means or the possibilities or the implications and how it extends across the timeline. So I'm really hoping we're gonna get this out of the next episode. And I feel like my date just left early to specifically build interest and stay aloof, and I think that's a little bit annoying and immature, but fuck it. Let's see what she's got. Fuck.
Yeah.
Also,
I look
someone said something in Japanese that sounded like "So long, gay Bowser," and I don't remember what it was, but I found it funny.
at it. Well, something was in the last of my notes, but I didn't actually say in my ending statement. I at least hope there's some good fucking fight scenes because I assume both of you are gonna fuck the show. So I hope there's something keeping me entertained.
Yeah, fair enough. Also, Matsumoto speaking English is funny. Hold on, though. Hold on. Stop.
Yeah.
Right. On to that's 2 fucks and a kill for Vivy. Fluorite Eye Song.
Yeah. Let's move on to Super Cub, episode 9.
Kappa.
Kokoma and Reiko continue to prepare for the winter and turn some abrasive wool, which sounds like a stand name, she gives them into liners. However, it's not enough, and they have to go out and buy windshields to help because of the wind.
Yeah, not gonna lie. The way the emphasis, the show has a. I get it, it's a promotional series. But is Honda selling abrasive wool? Like, the way they talk about abrasive wool is ridiculous. At first, I loved how, like, Watami's dad was saying abrasive wool. I thought it was great.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's like they treat it like they're holding an ingot of gold. Like, the fuck? It's wool!
Yeah, but like it's worth silver. Oh wait, no, never mind. That was me thinking about. Never mind. My SciShow videos are bleeding into my anime videos. Anyway, yeah, it was. I'm like, fucking. I love the way her dad said abrasive wool. It was like really like heartfelt, but I did not expect the show from that moment onward to just like make it such a big fucking deal.
I do want to mention real quick as you put up this screenshot. It was on screen for a frame, but I love Smugma.
Smugma? That sounds wrong.
Smug Koguma.
Thank you. You understood why that sounded wrong, right?
It sounded a lot better in my head, but you still get my point. I know it's just because she's happy with finally being in the warm building, but I love that fucking face.
Speaking of Koguma, I get it. She's socially awkward, and at the end, she says like, I'm having a much easier time talking and interacting with people because of my super cup," and I'm like, "Aw, heartwarming." Girl, you still need to work on your social skills because there's this really sweet girl, and by the way, she is tiny, isn't she?
She's so small.
She's so small. She's so small. But you have this like if that sweater is big on Koguma, she would be fucking drowning in that fucking sweater.
Bolt that in a sweater, that's a fucking cover.
Yeah, it's like a sleeping bag. But yeah, jokes aside, Koguma, like your friend is doing you a favor and you're just like, okay, get to work on it. Like fuck you. Like fuck you. Be more polite. Be more I know I was complaining about her standing on too much, like being too ceremonious and obviously being uncomfortable in like social settings with like the teacher in the other school, but like, girl, like you're sounding a little bit not ungrateful, but at the very least you sound unappreciative, and that's not really cool.
Yeah, it really feels like she's. It really feels like she's got really bitchy isn't the right word, but entitled, I guess.
I don't think
I don't know.
It's this weird standoffishness that
Standoffish is definitely a better word than entitled for
she's
this, yeah.
very much not entitled. Also, we find out where she gets her money. She's living off scholarships, which means she needs to study on her grades.
Yeah, I mean, we've already kind of figured out there was some system like that, but it's good to have it confirmed.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. She comes off standoffish, and honestly, like that's not inaccurate. There are moments where people thought like they've said like, "Oh, Dalaran," except using my real name, or like he's such a fucking asshole. Like, and I'm like, no, I'm extremely anxious, and I don't know how to react to the things that you're saying to me. And so I get it when someone has like anxiety disorders and like social maladaptions, it can come off as that, and it certainly is in this sense. I really don't think Kogama is a bad person. I just think she's used to being alone and doesn't really know how to react to people doing things to her. However, I do want to see her kind of open up more and actively appreciate and engage appreciate the things that are being done for her and engage the people that are doing them.
You cut out now.
I cut out.
You said appreciating doing them, or was that the end of it?
No, yeah. I want her. I want her to appreciate. I just want it to feel a little bit more that like she's like really appreciating and reacting to the things that are being done for her and the people that are doing them. By them, I mean those things.
Yeah. No, I don't like how she's seemingly like this girl clearly looks up to her, and it seems like she's just kind of holding her at arm's length to make her kind of more intensely wanting to be together with these two people she looks up to, and just kind of, I don't know, creating artificial distance between them to make her try and chase them more and idolize them more is kind of how it feels like. But at the same time, it's not within Kogama's nature to do that from what we've seen as well, so it's weird.
I don't. With this episode, I realized I don't watch the show for Kogama, and I actually don't think I'm that. Like, she's a fine character. Like, she can be in some parts I enjoy her, but honestly, for the most part, I find myself watching the show for Reiko. Oddly enough, I'm gonna put my cards on the table now. I'm not the biggest fan of Kogama.
No, understandable. Her character has taken a dip, honestly, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say she's my least favorite character of the four we have left, but I definitely. Oh wait, no, she'd be my second favorite character of the four we have left. I thought for a second about one of our shows, like, wait, no.
Yeah, Dal, I'm not delusional about my opinions of it, so I have to agree with it that yes, he has been taking a turn for the worse in some way. I'm not sure why that is, because it kind of seems like it came out of left field.
Yeah.
Was that a dig at me?
No?
Oh, Meep. Not everything's about you, Meep.
Just the way you said delusional, the way you said delusional about your opinions of it, I just went. I literally gave my issue with Yugo and Toke this episode. I wasn't just blindly going, yeah, no, it's all good.
Didn't call you delusional about that, and I think you're okay. I think that's an okay opinion to have because I kind of agree with it.
Anyway, as like, don't get me wrong, I've always been a fan of Reiko. I think she's great, and I fucking. I'm going to go out and say that I love this episode. I had so much fun with it. I'm just gonna lay my cards on the table too. But that being said, you already know that I'm gonna fuck Super Cub, so I'm not gonna go over like I don't know this episode. We opened with our gripes. Now let's get to the good stuff. Fucking Reiko with everyone's like fucking with the sweater and like Kogama like get to work, fuck you Kogama, and then she's like what, no, and she does like the little hands out waving in front of her like I thought you were gonna do it, you're so resourceful like with your super cub, I thought you know how to sew. And then she's like oh no I do not. And then she's like dad, and dad did her and her father have the same mannerisms because he did the same fucking thing to her that she did to Kogama, and I thought that was so fucking cute. And then they all Yeah, and they have the same mannerisms, and then they all slow turn to Reiko, who's like in her own headspace, and she's just like, huh?
I love how they don't even ask her because they're like, everyone's like, yeah, no, she can't.
Yeah, I I really enjoyed this episode too. Like when I was saying that earlier, I was just saying like I
Oh yeah,
just
no,
don't
no, no.
enjoy Koguma, but there's still things I really enjoyed about this episode. Which I just off topic, I just want to say I'm so happy that this isn't like Kuma Bear for me this season because I had fun at least dunking on Kuma Bear. I would not have fun dunking on this because it doesn't give me much to meme on it for.
Yeah, no.
That's fair enough.
And the thing I was setting up is that you were saying like you're all about Reiko, and normally I am too. But honestly, this episode I'm all about she. She Wati. What? Oh no, I forgot her name.
She is a good bean.
She is such a good bean, and she's so small.
Small bean.
I didn't realize how small she was until this episode where Reiko started to like. I get it, like okay, so Eniwa, yeah, Eniwa, she. I get it, right? Like the joke of like girls feeling each other up, haha, anime. But honestly, like I think the show played the joke right in this episode where Reiko starts. She puts her hands on her hips, then on her waist, then on her shoulders. Fortunately, not her chest. And Eniwa has the right reaction of like, Reiko, what the fuck are you doing? And she's like, oh, like didn't even think about that being inappropriate. Yeah, you'll fit in my fucking cub container.
Yeah,
God, that's a
love that.
creepy statement.
I love that because of Reiko in that scene. Like, I love how Reiko's just like, oh yeah, you can fit in here and just give me coffee all the time. It's just like, what?
Yeah, like, and
Ramming her into the fucking box.
get in the box, Eniwa, she.
Also, I know you two are gonna give me shit for my phrasing of this, but I kind of wanted to see more of She's mom this episode.
Okay, fair enough. No, that's fine.
I actually enjoyed She's mom and how she's just very doting and very like loves American and British culture.
Yeah, she's the American one. She's the Ameriphile, and her dad is the UK, like the Anglophile.
Oh no! Oh no! My mind went to a bad place with that.
All right, not touching that one. Anyway, speaking of she, right? Like, first of all, she is so polite. Okay, I can't do this. She. Eniwa is so polite. So polite. She comes up, she excuses herself, she's like, just so nice. So nice. But also, yo, she is trying, like, Eniwa's trying to get lit. She's like, yo, I put grappa, I know what grappa is, because, like, I've lived in, like, Montenegro and I've traveled around Southern Europe. And she's like, yeah, I put some grappa in it. And I'm like, yo, fucking, this is the last character I thought would be bringing booze into school, smuggling it in her thermos. And, like, I get it. Like, it's just a dash. They do it in Europe often during the winter months. A little bit of alcohol definitely, like, makes you feel warmer. I get the effect. And the show, specifically because it's a show about specifically driving motorcycles, I was like, put too much and it will fuck with you, and it will, too much like, it's still alcohol, kids, don't drink and drive. But I just found it hilarious that of all the characters, she's the one who's getting fucking lit.
Yeah, and when Reiko was drinking, it's like, can you like put some more in there? She goes, no.
And then Reiko's
driving.
Yeah, I even have the note. Now Reiko's the one trying to get lit.
I do love how there were 2 times where I had that disclaimer. It took me out of it a bit, but it actually gave me a chuckle.
Yeah.
Just like,
fucking, I love it. It's so good. And, like, it's a good disclaimer. Speaking of, like, the extra aspects of the subs in this episode, I feel like Funimation has been dropping the ball when it comes to subbing the show. I remember at least 2 mistakes. But in this episode, I actually really liked how the opening dialogue transitioned to the episode title in Ice. How Koguma was, like, riding in and was like, when I'm driving in this kind of weather, it feels like I'm in a bath of ice. And then the episode's title is In Ice. So I'm like, that was clean, smooth, and good.
wait. Okay, I've been watching too much JoJo's because I thought this episode's name was Vanilla Ice. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, Neve, go
I was waiting until we were about to hold up cards, and I was gonna say, okay, but why the fuck was the episode's name Vanilla Ice?
No, it's in. Okay, this is hilarious. So all of you, like viewers at home, chat, people watching us on the YouTubes, like Meep is just entering the JoJo's, and here we see the newborn JoJo fan in his excited splendor, absolutely amazed at the surrounding nature and sheer volume of entertainment.
See
But
him freaking out as he realized so much is a JoJo reference because JoJo inspired so much.
Oi, Josuke! I used the Hondo on this girl's bike, and now she's crashing.
why is Okiasu German? Are you?
Okiasu, she's dead.
Back to Super Cub. So, anyone find it, if not funny, at least interesting? That it's funny that the show's coming out in spring and not autumn, right? Because like, as the weather is getting colder in the show, it is getting actively hotter here. Like today's a 97 day. Yesterday was a 97 day. I watched it yesterday. I watch Super Cub on my walk back home from the doctor's every Monday. And like I'm walking in this heat and she's freezing and I'm like I had a physical glitch. Like my body's like, should I be cold right now? But I'm hot. And I'm like, no, hold on, wait.
You're about to go, so wait a minute. And also 97, can you say that for the number that people in most of the world use?
Shut up.
Yes, we were fighting not even 20 minutes ago. Now let's just team up on Dal.
Let's get him out!
For those of you who weren't here, our pre-show was filled with talks about Rising of a Shield Hero, and Fahrenheit versus Celsius.
Raftalia, best girl. Anyone that says Philo and Melty are best girl are bad.
Raftalia, absolutely best girl. But back to Super Cub.
Jesus fuck yeah, we're going on tangents. I'll be real with you. I didn't notice the episode names, and I don't think I've ever noticed an episode name.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, it's not really.
That's something my brain don't focus on, I suppose.
It's okay. It's okay. They're always like these. Like they're always like somewhat closed into the theme, but this is the first time it really like hit smooth, like really like from. That was just the best transition I noticed.
Oh yeah, like there's.
Go ahead, Meep.
Like Dal, sorry.
No, go ahead, Meep.
I was gonna say, Dal, it sounds like you pay attention to the Super Cub names. I pay attention to both the Shadow's House episode names and Vivy episode names, just because those are the episode names they give for those are incredibly fascinating to me, especially with how they mix with the episodes.
Mm.
And I pay attention to the episodes, I suppose.
Well, fuck you. Your implications there are not appreciated. Let's see, what else is there to talk about? Home Ec Lady was super fucking nice. She's like,
so fucking sweet.
Yeah.
I see so many people in the show have been sweet. I kind of, and I guess Koguma is kind of being the offset to that a little bit, but I'm just waiting for someone to show up and they're just combative like Okiasu, oddly enough.
It all comes full circle.
I think we're seeing Koguma's growth at the end of the episode here, because she like reflected about all the people who were nice to her and her colors bloomed. Because like that's the thing about depression, right? It's that like people can be really nice to you, but sometimes it really just has to deal with you and yourself and yourself alone, right? That fact that just like it's not like, how do I put this? Like, it's not always self-centered to be selfish. And, like, she got... The colors bloomed twice this episode. Once, right? When she put on the wool liner. And she felt warm. Excuse me. She put on the wool liner and she felt warm. And then the second time when they were driving with their windshields. Which, by the way, to the dude that stood in... Like, fucking... crossed two girls looking at a thing as their excuse me and took the thing that they're looking at, dude, fuck you.
But I mean, that's kind of how it is.
Like, they were obviously looking at the windshield, and the guy's like, oh, sumimasen, and then just takes it and walks away with it. I'm like, dude, the fuck?
But then again, you're an adult shopping for a motorcycle, but you see two young girls staring at. I'm like, oh, they're clearly not here shopping for it. Maybe they're just intrigued about what it is. Sorry, I need this.
Ugh, sexist.
So I'm sorry when he said that's the thing about depression. I physically moved back because I felt it on a spiritual level.
Yeah, man.
I get it. I mean,
People
there was
can
a
do.
lot of people who was nice to me at a job I had where I was spiraling into depression and was just constantly in anger because of, and despite all of the kind people around me, it didn't really change things for how I felt.
Yeah, yeah. People can do all the nice things in the world for you, but sometimes it doesn't have to do with other people. It has to deal with you, and you got to figure it out.
Sometimes true happiness comes from Zawarudo.
So, other things that I noticed in this episode that I really enjoyed. Um, After the home ec lady scene, when they give in the abrasive wool, and I still love how much of a fucking, it's not even a nerd, just straight up geek Reiko is. Um, the music that played afterwards, when it showed like them going to their apartments and it's gonna be like warm tomorrow, etc., etc. That was straight up Animal Crossing music. Like, it hit the same wavelength of
I never really thought about it. I always wanted to get into Animal Crossing. I think this is just fucking same vibes as Animal Crossing, just
Yeah,
that I can watch it instead of actually playing it for far too long for me to actually feel like it's short enough to pick up and play whenever I feel like.
yeah, it's just soft good times. Uh it's like soft, homey, cozy good times. So I really appreciate that. However, one thing I don't understand about the whole thing, while I'm really glad that they all have like little matching abrasive wool, little things like, her with her thermos, Reiko with her stockings, and fucking Koguma with her, jacket liner. Aren't well, Reiko, I guess not, but isn't Koguma's legs still fucking cold? Like, the windshield protects their face and neck and
Yeah,
hands.
I thought the problem was their legs because they're wearing skirts while driving a fucking motorcycle.
Yeah,
Because I mean, even with stockings, I mean, there's still bare skin exposed to the winter air that you're having hit your legs faster because you're driving against it. I mean, it's going to be cold either way. You need some fucking pants. I mean, in the end, they were wearing pants, but why the fuck aren't they wearing pants when they're driving to school?
Maybe it's the residual heat coming off the engine.
that's
That's
true.
not going to be enough.
The engine does run warm. Well, no, right? Engines. Well, yeah,
As
no.
as someone
Well,
who has ridden bare-legged on a Harley with my dad, having to man spread to save my skin
Oh
from
yeah,
getting
yeah,
burned
yeah, yeah,
off.
yeah. You definitely butterfly
well,
pose, especially if you're
I
sitting on the back.
mean, it's a Harley and a fucking Super Cub. One's a full ass motorcycle, and one's a scooter.
Nah, but they put on like serious exhausts. They souped
Yeah.
up their Super Cubs.
I mean, Reiko did. Koguma has not.
Those
Koguma did.
still those super
Koguma,
cups still
Koguma increased it slightly above what it was normally, but not a lot. But Reiko showed that like she reached her foot underneath it afterwards
Yeah,
and
to warm
felt
up.
the warmth.
Yeah.
So which means the heat engines, like the heat from the engine, like pumps out downward.
What were we saying, mate?
I was just gonna say the Super Cub still can go 60 miles an hour. That would still generate a lot of heat.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I guess
Oh no, it's not 60 miles per hour. It's 60 kilometers.
just more.
Is it?
Yeah, I think a mile is like half a kilometer.
Yeah, so 60 kilometers is less than miles.
No, a mile is 1.5 kilometer about.
Regardless, yeah, I'm sure it still generates some heat, but it shows us the legs and that she starts shivering. It is implied that her legs are cold because her half of her lower, well, not half of her lower body, but you know what I mean. They gotta put on pants. It's gonna be cold. And I get it, school uniform. You have to ride. Which is weird.
Give the fucking girls some pants so they don't freeze to death just because that's a school uniform.
Yeah, normally I think this is literally the first time I'm saying this in my life, but put on some pants, girl. Because you're cold.
I mean, if they're underage, you should be saying that anyways.
No, it's more like don't tell women how to dress, but it's cold.
Tell people
Fair-
how to dress if
fair
they're
enough.
dressing fucking poorly for their own fucking health.
Homie, I live in New York where I see girls walking around in cocktail dresses in the middle of January with 2 feet of snow.
Sure, do what you want, but if I care about you, still gonna say, hey, maybe you should, not give yourself hypothermia. I know that's contradictory though, because I'm the motherfucker that walks around in t-shirts and a fucking shorts and a tank top whenever it's like -10 degrees.
Dal embracing the Wonder Egg philosophy of I don't know what they're going through. I'm just walking by you on the street.
I'm just saying, girl, it's not worth it. Like, yeah, you look cute, but it's not worth it. The sex
I'm just
can't
making-
be worth the fucking frostbite.
Listen, you don't know. Maybe it is.
Anyway, so another thing that what's up?
No, I finished my joke. I said, "Hey, you don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
it is."
So another thing about this episode, Truck-kun is back at it again. Seriously though, is there like is being struck by a truck like really that fucking common in Japan?
Not really, I suppose, but I mean, from what I gathered, this dude has like rental bikes, and if it's not yours, maybe you're not as careful with it and get into a few accidents or whatever. So I mean, I think that might be it. And I mean, I don't know how many he has, if he has like 10 or if he has like 50 of them, but I mean, having an accident every now and again shouldn't be that uncommon.
Yeah, but Truck-kun is in so many animes. So many girls, especially girls, get hit by trucks.
I mean, hey, Reiki did get hit by a car, actually.
I mean, that's just kind of what it's happening to be for some fucking reason, and it's kind of become a meme, and I think the anime industry might be embracing that a bit.
Fair enough.
That's a kitty.
Also, Reiko's windshield, like, Koguma's looks a little janky, but Reiko's straight up looks like someone just slapped a piece of like scrap iron, like an iron plate to her fucking bike. It looks so jank. It looks Mad Max.
Yes, it's a Dark Soul shield.
I do love how she turned on a dime. She's like, no, it's so ugly, I'll never. And then fucking uses it for one ride, like she did the fucking hand warmer thing. It's just like, well, wasn't it ugly? Well, if it works, well, it's not ugly.
Yes, fucking Reiko just. I did think the whole scene of them in the store constantly trying to see who buys it first so that they have an excuse to buy it themselves, as well as just being resistant for their own reasons. It was really cute.
And these two fucking dorks having bought it, just running out of the stores with them.
Well, there's nothing romantic there. I do think Koguma and Reiko are a great couple, a great duo, if you will.
Yeah, they're
it's
good friends.
Like they're two good best friends, huh?
Two best friends sitting on their cubs 5 feet apart because they're not gay. Also because they don't want to crash. But yeah, am I like? They're like, oh, he's thinking of scrapping the cub. Oh, maybe you should take Koguma. Not even Speedwagon would take that cub. And everyone's like, ha ha ha. And then fucking she's saying like, wow, super cubs are cool. And I'm like, give it to her. Give it to anyone.
But
she has parents. They will help her fix it.
She gonna get that bike.
If it burns oil like that, though, okay. Fun little fact about so when my car, I think this was about a month ago now, I couldn't use my car to go town because it was out of gas, so I had to go town to get gas. So I had to use this truck that my dad hasn't been using in a couple years now, and I went to town. Each trip to town, you have to get it refilled with oil.
Yeah,
that's how badly it burns oil.
Yeah, I know. It's the bike is fucked. That's why he's not renting it. That's why only short trips, and it's a huge money sink, literally. But Eniwa's the only one with parents that have been confirmed thus far, so she has money and she can fix the bike.
Yeah.
Little do we know, Reiko is her own parents.
Reiko seems pretty fucking rich.
Reiko's from the fucking Steins Gate. She's her own parent.
I was going with an amoeba thing, reproducing asexually.
Oh well. Do we have anything else you want to talk about?
I'm good.
The
I'm gonna
bike
move on.
was blue, and we have been shown that Eniwashi's color is blue from her little Italian apron thing, scarf to her coat. That is her color. So
It'd be very fitting if she ran off and maybe saw someone about an old used cub and decided to get one.
yeah, so maybe Eniwa gets a cub. That'd be pretty cool in a show about super cubs.
Why did you go from catty, like 1980s office worker girls to Kermit the Frog?
I don't know.
Maybe you should shut the fuck up.
Hey, shut the fuck up, dude. Maybe you wanna mind your own business and let us get excited about Eniwa getting her own cup. What do you think about that?
Are you ready for cards, you chuckle fucks?
Yes, I think I'm it.
Yeah, all right. Let's. I don't have any money, but I'm ready to hold up a card.
I'm gonna fuck the show with the realization that I actually don't really like Koguma that much, and also now having the realization of, and she's my second favorite main character. Oh no.
Hmm.
I was a bit more apprehensive of this episode, but Reiko definitely does. Reiko carries this show for me, I'll be completely honest. Anything involving her, I love. And she is cute and all, but if I'd be lying if I said if Reiko wasn't part of the show, I wouldn't be fucking it.
Yeah, I'm also gonna fuck the show because this is just good, heartfelt feels, and it's just nice and relaxing. It's just something to wind down with, and just it's warm and comfy. It's great. I don't know what I also can say about it because there's not much I can say about the show except gushing over the things I like. It doesn't have overarching stories or substances in that sense, but it's just so simple and clean. Anyway,
Nice. If you weren't gonna do it, I was. Nice. If you weren't gonna do it, I was. Hello?
Yeah, I heard you.
Yeah.
I'm done with my point. You can.
Oh,
It's your
okay.
turn now.
Yeah, no, I'm fucking this show too. I'm fucking it like I fuck Miss Piggy, except this time it is of my own free will and it is my choice and not against it. Anyway, I love I love this episode. I had such a good time. The amount of times I just slammed my space key to like stop and write notes. I have not. I like this show in general, but this episode was just really good. There was so many moments of whether it be like the funny English that's a little bit anime, like anime may, but at the same time, it still comes across genuine, and then like just a nice little people, and like the door constantly opening and closing and the fucking wooden bell sounding every time. I'm like, all right, guys, all right, let's go. All right, guys, come on. This show is fucking charming to hell, and even when it's being a fucking commercial for this week, wool, a brace of wool. But honestly, like jokes aside, I'm pretty sure it's just the writers for this show, like getting really excited about things that they know about, because I'm pretty sure that's what Reiko is. And I agree with you, me. Reiko is an absolute necessary inclusion. She is the other side. Her energies. She's the other side to Kokomish. Her energy is extremely needed. And anyway, she is gonna teach both of them how to be fucking people instead of just like gearheads.
And I do want to bring up, like, that goes both ways. Reiko wouldn't really work without Koguma, in my opinion.
Yeah, she'd be obnoxious without Koguma balancing her out. But yeah, no, the show's great. Love the characters, love the scenery, love the music, love the vibes, love how just chill and heartwarming and cozy and genuine the show is. Fuck.
For me, Reiko is this show's Polnareff. That's a weird comparison to make, but she's a character that brings a good energy to it that makes me want to stick around.
If anything, she is Polnareff, and like Reiko's Joseph, old Joseph.
Well, let's move on to
Wait,
Tokyo Revengers.
before we move on, Meep, can you honestly tell me you don't see abrasive wool? Oh my god!
I do
Can't
want
believe
to. No, go.
Can't believe Hermit Purple was actually wool this whole time.
Yeah.
It's Kermit Purple. Thank you.
Kermit Purple. I do want to say, like, I don't think Abrasive Wool was an advertisement because I don't think speaking up the amazing insulating power of Abrasive Wool brings any more sales to Honda.
Well, yeah, that's what I said. Like at the end, it's like it's more about it just being people. I think people on the writing staff just geeking out about things that they know. I like trivia in my shows.
Honda probably sells like gear like those windshields, those gloves, and everything. I wouldn't be surprised if they had some abrasive wool style gear.
I have to look that up now.
Also, let's
move on to Tokyo Revengers. The still is up.
Episode 9. Takamichi goes to the parking lot where he finds Draken being attacked, but Mikey shows up and calls someone named Tamna out for pulling the strings. The rest of Tomman shows up and a brawl starts. In the end, Takamichi sees the Draken has already been stabbed. Now, I also want to pull out a criticism I've had with this show.
Mm-hmm.
This is the fourth time, I think, that it's pulled the rug from under us and then slapped us over the head with it.
What do you mean?
Oh, yeah, no, Takamichi has changed everything. The gang's here. They're helping up Draken. Oh, Draken's already been stabbed.
All right, cool. So we're going to open with this. Okay, Takamichi, you inept piece of shit. You couldn't even say fucking Draken and you were right fucking there.
And I know the show's gonna pull out the rug under us from again, going, oh, this Hamina guy, he's the one pulling the strings. I know we're gonna get the rug pulled out from under us, and it's going to be Kiseki who is pulling the strings.
Yeah, well,
he's already been set up. Yeah, he's already been set up to be the antagonist who's doing that. And
yeah. I am tired of Takamichi. You talked about last week how you get like weekly shonen vibes. Yeah, it's the fucking protagonist that does not fucking change, and I'm honestly sick of it. You had one fucking job, Takamichi. Like, I didn't blame you for running off with your girlfriend thinking you changed everything. It makes sense. Draken and Mikey were the catalyst for Tolman splitting up. The paper said that there was going to be a fight. They're not fighting, so there's not going to be a fight. Okay, you knew what was happening. You couldn't fucking find Draken, one of the tallest boys, and blonde, and with a distinct style, who's not in a Tolman jacket. Like, really, motherfucker? Like, you couldn't fucking do this?
It's not even that. He was already in the parking lot. He should have been next to him, like, instantly.
He should have been stuck close to Draken the entire time. Yeah, why was he even fucking apart from him to begin with?
Yeah, I hate Takamichi. I like earlier when I said, yeah, Kokoma's my third favorite, and I had to think about it. Right, Takamichi exists. No, I don't like him.
Yeah.
He hasn't developed at all.
Keeps promising that he'll develop before not developing again.
Yeah, like we had the speech last session, right? Like we had the fucking speech. Where the fuck is the change, Takamichi? You didn't throw a single punch in this fight. You didn't do shit to help your crew. And useless.
Yeah. And whereas with Vivy, the 11 episode or the 9 episodes prior, there was actual change and growth with Matsumoto and Vivy as characters, and it was about their growth as a whole. I don't. Has Takamichi even changed anything?
He's changed a little bit, right? He fixed Mikey's and Draken's like relationship, which played a big part. And we'll get to that, but let's shit on Takamichi before we get to the rest of the episode. But yeah, he's done that. You know, he's kind of helped save his friend from dying. Remember, because he was gonna die in the Fight Club. But like he did.
He wasn't gonna die, but he's gonna get beaten near to death, be put in hospital, and then he was gonna be forced to move away because of those complications. I think that was the thing that was happening.
Okay. still, he's part of the crew now, and that's nice. But like twice, twice there was a baseball bat near Takamichi, and he never picked it up, even after collapsing on his knees and being like, "God, I can't do anything. Oh, I'm so scared." Just, the bat was next to him, and I thought, "No, I'm gonna do it." And I was rooting for him. I was like, "Yeah, let's go, Takamichi. Pick yourself back up again, and kick some Mobius ass and find Draken and support him and save him. There's a baseball bat right next to you. Grab it." And he started getting up. I expected, the fingers to turn into knuckles in the water. Then he's gonna get up, pick up a bat, and crack someone, and just go find Draken. Nothing. Fucking nothing.
This is a story about the delinquents and a lot of violence and a lot of dark, mature scenarios. Why is our main character a pacifist?
Yeah,
He's not a pacifist. He's a coward.
Yeah,
even when he gets himself into fights, he doesn't even try to swing most of the time.
I'm really sick of Takamichi. Like, I know what they're gonna do too. If Draken doesn't survive this, Mikey is or not Mikey. Fucking Takamichi's gonna have to become Mikey's heart, and that's gonna lead to a whole bunch of other stuff happening. I can see it, but I don't like the direction it's going. I don't like what it's doing. The main character is the worst part of the show for me.
You know what would have been like what I would enjoy in this fight if he actually made good on his promise last time that he was going to try and fight, try and save everything, and do what it takes. That when he fell over, he did pick up a bat, or he just started fighting some of the Mobius, even if he got his ass beat. Like, it's not easy finding someone in the crowd, sure, but if you start fucking thinning the crowd with whatever little you can do while still looking around, you might be able to find them easier.
Yeah, and like the whole time, like climb a lamppost, climb a wall, do something, and like fucking crack a bottle again. Just fucking contribute instead of just stumbling around a battleground like a wimp and getting people thrown at you and apologizing constantly. I get it. I get it. He's traumatized. He still needs to work through it. But it's the same song and dance.
Yeah, and
sorry, Meep, 1 second. You even spent 4 fucking minutes of this episode recapping everything that he said last week. And it's 2 steps, it's 1 step forward, 2 steps back. Well, okay, no, it's 2 steps forward and 1 step back, but it's always 2 step forwards, 1 step back. And that sucks.
You fucking do that, right?
Like 85% of the four fucking minutes. Tokyo Revengers, you really have the runtime to waste on these recaps? 85% of those, 85% of those of that fucking recap was just last episode.
I remember I was not warm on the episode when I watched it, and I'm feeling even less now.
And chat, I see you, chat, and like, sure, he's weak. That's what a baseball bat is for.
And the weakest person, if you throw a haymaker, no matter how weak you are, and if you catch someone occupied with something else, you don't need a lot of muscle mass to just swing your entire body mass into someone's jaw. That is going to ring their bell.
Also, I don't care if Takamichi is weak or not. The fact that this is the 3rd or 4th time we've gotten the exact same thing from him and he has not changed, that is bad writing.
Yeah, it's the flaw of like shonen shows. I stopped watching Black Clover. Well, that and it's the reason like I kind of don't look back at Naruto fondly because it's really one fucking note, and in a medium that is evolving and developing as much as it has and is right now, that talking about anime, where characters have depth and have development. Like, I'm not asking for him. Like, this is one end of the spectrum that is bad. The other end would be bad too. You know, if Takamichi just all of a sudden became this absolute fucking bad, not the desu. You know, like just really big badass and had a complete character shift. That would suck too, but at least that would be entertaining. Every episode, he falls on his knees and cries.
This is the second episode in a row we've got the no, I promise I'll be stronger. I won't be weak. And last episode it at least gave us a thought, and setup that it might amount to something. It didn't. This show has been the beatdown was at least okay.
Yeah, before we move on, I want to address the other thing that I'm seeing said in chat. Uh, yes, he focused on finding Draken, but even that was kind of pathetic and inept. But even if it wasn't for that, let's step away from Takamichi. Let's look at the show and the narrative for a second, right?
Well,
we're being told. Okay.
I just want to say my piece on the he should have found Draken. He should have been with Draken from the start.
Fights break out, people get lost. It's like 100-man. It's 100v100 fight. Like it's chaos.
But he wasn't even next to Draken when the fight broke out. He should have ran up to Draken the moment they got there.
I completely agree.
I agree as well, but I mean, Draken is faster. He is more combat ready. He is quicker on his feet to react to situations like this. I'm sure he would have ran off before Takamichi. And when the fighting breaks out, well, I mean, it's not an easy and clear path to follow, so I can understand that.
When we say be next to Draken, we mean literally at his side, not like 5-6 feet away from him, in like behind him, because you're scared, Takamichi, and I get it. He's freaking out. He's like, oh, para, you know, like oh my god, what is happening, what's gonna happen now, my only chance of succeeding was knowing the future, and I can't do anything without everything going according to Keikaku. Again, just stop. Like, it's like, stop being Takamichi, stop being pathetic. The show needs Takamichi to win, because we need to win, because we knew what was happening. We're told all the information, and Draken is still on the fucking floor, bleeding out, if not dead. Draken better not be dead. That's all I'm gonna say.
He better not be, because it's not gonna be great. And I like that you said that we need to win for this to feel good. Yeah, it's like when I was in a D&D game for a long time, and like 2 years into it, I realized we've basically not won anything. And that stuck with me, and I just couldn't get over it, and it just sat there with me that we had never had a real victory against any real villain. We'd always been, it's always kind of been a draw or a loss for us, and it kind of made me think, what's the fucking point? We're just struggling and dying.
I will say this: he did get a win last episode when he and Hina got to kiss. But last episode was the best episode of this show, and this episode might be, if not the worst, the second worst, because episode 7 is still up in the air for me, whether or not I dislike it more than this one.
He didn't even kiss her back.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call the kiss a win for him. It's a good moment for him in the middle of the shitstorm after he got beaten to shit and taped up in the middle of a rainstorm, being told that the blame for Draken's death is going to put on him. I wouldn't call that a win.
That was supposed to be him changing once again. But I think we have shat on Takamichi for long enough. Let's talk about the rest of the episode. Meep, you said that you think this is a bad episode. I can't agree with you. Seeing all of Tomen roll out together to back up Draken, with Mikey rolling in on his motorcycle, which, by the way, Draken knows the specific sound of Mikey, like, he knows the sound of Mikey's motorcycle specifically. He specifically knows the specific sound of Mikey's specific motorcycle specifically. There we go. That's what my brain wanted to say. What the fuck?
Yeah,
See,
I I need to cut in with this first because my brain can't take it. When Draken said, it's a CB 250T, I'm like, okay. And then it passed over to the next subtitle, and my brain went, wait a minute, is this bike called CBT 250? And then I went back and like, okay, no.
Also, yeah, I did like, Tom-Man rolling up to back up Draken and everything.
All the fucking commanders, fucking the grappler, the fast fight. This is a fighting game roster, guys.
Yeah, that just shows how bad Takemichi ruined this episode for me. Takemichi fell so flat and dragged this episode down with him for me. Because it felt like this whole fight, everything Takemichi, like that whole development where he's like, no, I will be better, I will be stronger. We got that again in this episode, and it amounted to nothing. The 4-minute recap that added nothing to the show.
I do have to interject with something I remembered that is in favor of Takemichi, considering how much we've been dunking on him. His time traveling ability came in use. He knew where the fight was going to go down by something he remembered talking to, God, I forget his name now, but Hina's little brother.
Naoto,
Naoto about, and therefore they could find Draken before he was beaten to a pulp by the people he was going 1v50 with.
Yeah, that was, yeah, he did know, he immediately knew how to get there. Yeah,
without that, Draken would have been on the floor before they even got there.
Draken was already on the floor. Almost. No, he was almost on the floor. He
wasn't, it wasn't his last legs, but he would have been on the floor, and if not already stabbed.
Yeah, fair enough. It's just, I feel like the show wanted us to be like, oh no, it still happened, Draken. But what ended up happening is like, nope, it still happened. Fuck you. Draken's on the floor and bleeding out now. You guys don't get a choice. Like,
yeah, Draken better not be dead, and it better not go the route that I'm thinking it will, where Takemichi goes, well, I have to become Mikey's heart, because if it does that, yeah. I'm definitely out.
Yeah, no, like, when it did the cliffhanger of Draken having been stabbed and the ending screen came on, you want to know what my, like, instinctual reaction to that was? I audibly went, oh, fuck off.
I audibly went, oh, fuck you. Like,
I flipped off my phone.
Nobody liked that. Everybody hated it.
Will remember that.
Yeah, everybody disliked that.
You want to make a cliffhanger like that and have it be making intrigue instead of pissing your audience off. Have Takemichi like see the guy go towards Draken, about to stab him, and go from there, or them being in a clash, struggling, trying to not get stabbed before cutting to the cliffhanger or something.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. This, like, I am happy we're all on the same page, because I was so worried I was going to be the crazy one this time, just being like, well, Takemichi fucking sucks. I was worried.
Yeah, no. The fight was cool, though. I kind of wish we got more, but I'll put it this way. While I wish, personally, like, yeah, man, it would have been so cool to get more out of the fucking the gang war, it could have been so much worse. I fully acknowledge that it could have been so much worse. It could have been so much more of a mess. Like, they cut between all the captains and all the fighting pretty well. They showed the occasional goon and thug fighting each other, and they showed Mobius isn't a bunch of pushovers. Like, there was a couple of times where Bowman crew got their shit stomped, but mostly it was Mobius getting crushed. And yes, I wish we got more of the captains. I wish we got to see more of them fighting, and I wish we kind of got to see more of them before all this. But in terms of, like, introducing the full ensemble of Tolman, this is pretty fucking cool.
I mean, now, apart from the actual, like, captains of Tolman, it was an even fight between the grunts of the both factions. It's just that the other gang. Oh, Jesus, why am I so bad with the names today?
Mobius.
Mobius.
But yeah, it's just that Mobius didn't have any actual like captains apart from oh god, the fucking tattoo hand man.
The Sin Boy, yeah.
Who does nothing.
Well,
Yeah,
no, he does
um,
something, and we'll get to that
yeah,
in a
he does
minute.
something. Yeah, but like apart from him, Mobius doesn't have any like captains with them, which is a huge difference in power dynamic.
Fair enough. But also this
Oh,
motherfucker on the screen right now. This motherfucker and his his lieutenant is the guy from fucking Hunter x Hunter. But this motherfucker
Ah!
who beat a motherfucker with another motherfucker and then beat three more motherfuckers with a different motherfucker was great.
wait, what did the tattoo hand man do? I must be legitimately blanking.
Well, let's talk
He
about the
blocked.
captains and then we'll roll back
Yeah.
to him.
My favorite captain was the long black hair dude who tied his hair up in a ponytail. I just liked that dude's swagger.
That
That
guy,
alone, that
that
alone made me go, I like you.
yeah. That guy has taken martial arts. He has done MMA.
Yeah. Yeah, the captains were fine. We didn't get enough of them for me to form a cohesive opinion on them, other than wow, they fight really cool. Kind of remind me of the Gote 13 a little bit.
I thought the captain's cool. There was the happy-go-lucky boy who's like would kill you with a smile on, who's terrifying. But I feel like didn't lean into Happy Boy or Yandere Boy to. I feel like he didn't lean enough into either of the ways. Fucking Zang Draco Zangief over here, fucking throwing people and like fucking people up was really cool. The fast boy, who if this was a different anime would absolutely have cat ears or fox ears. Um, it was just cool. It was just a really cool scene. Like
Ah,
I
yes.
really enjoyed that part. Oh, fucking punk boy, I forget his name. We get told him Mitsuyuba, the guy with gray hair and like the punk piercing and like the fucking
Oh yeah,
rimmed
the guy
eyebrows.
who Takemichi met up with and told like, yeah, Drax gonna get killed by this dude, and they said a different name.
Yeah, I like
Um,
him. I like him a lot
yeah,
actually. He's
yeah, I
cool.
like him. He's pretty chill for someone who looks so intense. I like that.
Yeah. Also, yes, Fast Boy, aka Cat Boy from Seven
Yeah,
Nights.
he 100% would be a cat boy or a fox boy if this was a different type of anime. You can see him having animal ears.
Yeah. I yeah, I'm really I liked the beatdown. It was fun. Yeah.
Well, you asked us about what did this fucker do, right? The Mobius commander, Sin Boy.
Yeah, do we have a screenshot of that? No,
Uh,
we only have a.
yeah,
We'll
no,
take one of that.
I didn't take that either. Yeah, I should have, but I was too focused on the scene. You
Yeah,
say he did nothing, bruh. He blocked Mikey's kick, and that has been shown in the show to be extremely hard to do, which implies even Mikey reacted, "What the fuck?" Which implies that he is relatively as strong as Draken and Mikey. And that's not nothing. That is a concern.
that and he seemingly riling up the entirety of the Mobius gang and Pe to do his bidding. That's also concerning.
Mm-hmm.
Because sure, it might be revealed that it's the other key's the key, but as far as we're concerned right now, it's this guy.
Did Meep die?
Oh, internet died for a moment. Whoa, what's up?
We were talking about Sinboy and everything that he stands for, and everything his presence stands for.
Oh, yeah. I which boy is that again?
The one who blocked Mikey's kick and why that was a big deal. Just to
Yeah,
recap, since your
Oh,
internet
that.
died, yeah.
Sounds.
Right.
By blocking Mikey's kick and having Mikey and everyone react, oh shit. Like Mikey has never reacted, oh shit,
I
in the show. Um,
what
Let me just
when
give
I
you the
said
recap
that
for what
he
you missed. It implies that he is as strong as Draken and Mikey, and that is something we haven't seen in the show thus far, and that is really fucking concerning. And Makan made a good point of him being able to rile up all of Mobius.
Heh, and like turning them towards Toman.
Yeah, when I mentioned that he does nothing, I meant kind of after he sets off the gang war, which I get. He's supposed to be, oh, is he the one pulling the strings? Even though it's Kisaki.
We don't
Yeah.
know shit yet. That fucking shit we're speculating from kind of the things we saw from the flashback, which is he might get involved in some other way. If Draken dies, he might just be the dude that fills that void for some reason.
I don't know. I'm betting he's one of Kisaki's goons who was told to get Draken killed so he can infest Toman.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, yeah, that is probably what's happening. But this guy is also like intimidating as fuck. Like he's kind of an asshole, but he's a real bastard. But he like knocked someone out with one punch. He's shown, yeah, right, chat. There was that one scene where he knocked someone out so hard that it looked like he snapped their fucking neck. Like their head went sideways, their neck went sideways.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, like this dude might have just fucking killed someone in a fight, and also like he doesn't have to do shit. He's the commander. Like his crew is here. Like
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of there for intimidation factor, and if shit goes down, he probably join in.
he is the final
For now,
boss.
For now, he's just watching them tire themselves out and beat each other up. Also, it's the most anime like shonen bullshit I've ever seen. But the scene between Mikey and Pe, it's still fucking cool, no matter how many times I've seen some shit like that.
That was good. That was a really good scene. Did I want to see Peg get his shit stomped? Yes. Did I appreciate Mikey being like, hey, look at me. Look at me. Am I smiling about Pa? Have I ever made it seem like it's okay? And then the whole, like, I will not fight my family, and Pe started to cry. I'm like, yeah, let's go, boys.
Yeah, no, it's despite it all and despite it being a common trope, it's fucking good.
Silence in the ether.
Yeah, I think that's us. We don't have much to talk about anymore, so should we move on to cards?
Yeah.
Alright, so be it.
Someone else go first. I need to concise my thoughts.
You want to take it away, Makan?
Sure. I didn't have a problem with the majority of the episode. Looking through it, and I was having fun. The fight was great, and Takemichi being as wimpy as he is in his character, but just the fact that he goes, yeah, I'm useless, and yeah, I can do this, to just failing in the matter of like 2 minutes in the end. And the cliffhanger that instead of building suspense more than anything pissed me the fuck off. I'll be perfectly honest, if I was watching this by myself and there was not another episode out, I would probably have dropped the show here, and that's why I'm killing it.
Very well. Dell, do you want to go next?
You go. Wait, hold on. What was your vote, Makan?
Kill.
Oh, shit. Yeah, go ahead, Meep. What's yours?
If Draken dies next episode, this vote is going to turn into a kill. I'm going to fuck the episode purely just wanting to see if I'm right. And this is a little meta-y, but if this show survives this week and takes a downturn next week...
Yeah, no, fuck what Meep said, honestly. If Draken dies, this show dies. Not because Draken is dead, but because how Draken died. How they killed Draken. If they had made it so that Takemichi tried really hard and was right there next to Draken and failed and had to he'd have a moment of like earned self-doubt where he's like, what if I can't change the future and I can only change how things happen? Singularity, the whole like time travel thing, like there are certain singularity points that cannot change. There are like events that are, inevitable. That would be fucking interesting. if Mikey fought and gave us like an actualized on his whole speech of like promised character development last episode, that would have been fucking good. But damn it all, the show's fucking enjoyable, and I want to see these dumbasses fight, and I want to see the end of the fight. And I'm giving the show, this is your last chance show, Tokyo Revengers. If Draken dies and Takemichi doesn't, because we know the opening tells us he becomes a badass. He gets the Tolman jacket. He gets to be the Fighto, and he takes it seriously. Give that. Give Taka Fightamichi. As it stands right now, this is a fuck, but only because this show has earned a fuck up until this point. Honestly, I'm talking about this. I should kill it, but I don't want this show to die, and I found enough things to enjoy. Everyone else except Takemichi was so good in this episode that I can't bring myself to kill it. So, one more chance, boys. One more chance. Fuck.
See, it's the sex you have on a date where you're already thinking of breaking up with them, and you're in the middle of it, and you're like, but should I be doing that? I'm already inches deep. I'll keep going. But with that,
I essentially went, get the fuck out of my bed.
yeah.
Oh, one more thing before we switch over to Shadow's house. How the fuck did no one in any of those apartment buildings call the fucking police? Where's the police?
Yeah.
This is Japan. Like, we have a lot of problems with police here in the US, but in Japan, right? Like, you see a gang war happening, should probably call the cops and break it up. Someone could die. A certain kind-hearted, dumbass, badass could die.
I mean, it's possible they have to call the police, but police can take a while to get there, especially during a festival, because then a lot of roads are closed.
Yes, yeah. It's just, I was half expecting Takemichi to call the police. And then having that whole conversation like, yo, Takemichi, what the fuck?
I'll be honest, you probably should have.
Yeah. Like, I will admit I was being a little meta-y with my vote this week, but I would have landed on the same vote anyways. I would have landed on the same vote anyways because I was going to watch the episode anyways. But I'd be lying if I said there wasn't another factor that was reassuring me in my vote.
What do you mean?
If the show is shitty next week.
Oh yeah, I watched. Sorry, go on ahead.
I was just gonna say, if the show is shitty next week, there might be a safety net for another show.
All right.
Yeah, you want a safety net for that baby.
I still voted with my heart.
Oh, whatever. Point is, yeah, no, same thing with me. I watched this episode yesterday too, and I remember being really bothered by the ending, but like I was still more focused on the fight. But like today, while I was at the doctor's office, I was thinking about it. I'm like, man, fuck Takemichi, man. Like, sucks. Like, that sucks. All that shit from last episode, and this is what we get from him, man. Fuck that. And then like when we started talking about it, I'm like, man, fuck Takemichi. Yeah, no. This show has one more chance. It is what it be, what it be, and like I don't want this show to die, but if it's failing, it deserves the knife. And yeah, whatever. I'm repeating myself. You guys heard my vote. Shadow Sense. That's 2 fucks, although apprehensive and hesitant, and a knife for Tokyo Revengers. Can't wait for the 6-minute recap next week. And now we're on to Shadow House.
Oh yeah, if there's another 4-minute recap, it's dying too.
Well,
even if Draken lives, because
okay.
Because I get enough of that shit with old shonen. I'm not having it here. Not in my house.
More like not.
But alright.
More like not in our Shadow's house.
Yep. Shadow's house, episode 9. Sean and John turn a gate with the assistance of Ricky after Lou and Louise pass the debut. Sean and John pass past the debut as Rum and Shirley start free one another. Emiliko is struggling to save Kate, but Patrick orders Ricky to give Emiliko the shears, which she uses to save Kate. And McConn's theory was confirmed in the first fucking 5 seconds.
Right, bitches!
Hmm?
Immediately, I am the smartest person in the fucking room as always. I go, maybe the shadows morph with their dolls, and they fucking do!
That's what we both said that. Why you gotta take credit for all of it, okay?
Because that's what I do. I'm the American in this situation now.
McCann earned that Akudama level. I was right! Because I did that with, I think, episode 2 of Akudama going, I knew it! I knew there was going to be money incentive!
Yeah, but that's because both of us were against what you were saying. Yeah, no, yeah. Mackin was the correct, well, yeah, whatever. We were right. Point is, we got more lore! We got more interesting shit, and, like, again, how the philosophy of dolls and Shadow Masters plays into this, like, symbiotic kind of, like, relationship. But we're seeing this new generation, and they're like, yo, man, Rage Against the Machine, and they're like, they're not part of the system, man, and I'm here for it. They're like changing the way Shadows and Masters work. It's great. And that piece of shit fucking, what's his name? Ryan.
I don't know.
That insufferable ass hair, Ryan, is so mad because the Shadows are getting along with their dolls.
Yeah. Also, Dal, I didn't mean to detract from you also having the theory, because I'll be honest, this episode was like, I was right! And then I went, wait a minute, was it I who came up with that, or was it one of the other two?
You just, it's okay. I am petting the mic, you just want it to be the smart bean. It's okay.
I remember you were the one that first brought it up, and then Dal did say, yeah, I'm thinking that too.
Yeah. Which is a cool feature, because it does, like I said, it does imply that there's a certain level of power you gain when you're able to do that. But also, Edward is also deviating from it, because he treats his doll still has a personality, right?
I mean, I think that from what they say, like, each of them have something that is missing from the other that makes them whole. So I think the personality of Edward is the mixture of the doll's personality and the Shadows.
Could be it. I just remember the shadow form referring to Edward in third person, which implies to me that they have different modes. Like when it comes to getting to work, Edward comes out. When it comes to being a dramatic son of a bitch, the shadow form comes out.
I mean, I don't remember him referring to the third person, but I saw with the butterfly girl as well.
Can we talk about the butterfly girl? I did not like that.
I just want to say, like, from what it seems like, more of their passionate emotions, or maybe the emotions of the doll, when those grow stronger, their face shows. So maybe that might have just been maybe Edward's doll just has a very strong personality about being a mentor or some sort of teacher and grading these people, or it's just that they can switch between, like, on a whim as well.
I can see that.
But God, the butterfly girl.
I actively was just like, oh, I don't like that. Oh, I don't like that at all.
Wait, what did she do again?
She was like, she was doing the fucking horny panting on the window where you see the breath, and then her fucking proboscis tongue comes out, and that's when because she was doing the horny breathing over John, right? Being super fucking strong.
Smashed the fucking
which, by the way, we'll talk about.
Gushed all over the floor, just went lick the window.
Yeah, she fucking pressed herself up against the window, panting on it, and I'm like, oh, I don't like that. And then the fucking proboscis tongue came out, and I audibly went, oh, I don't like that at all.
Oh, I forgot about that.
I didn't forget about that because I wanted to get a screenshot without some text, but I couldn't find one.
No context.
I didn't want there to be any context. I just wanted to show up on the stream and just be like, "Here you go, stream. Just enjoy that." If you didn't
Anyone who watched it, proboscis shaming. Yes, I'm proboscis shaming.
Though, can we talk about how John is one of the best characters in this show, if not one of the best side characters this season?
Yeah, no, 100%.
He's
Sean's great.
fantastic. He's so fucking good. I love his personality.
I want to say this now. If we nominate a side character from Shadow's House for best side character, can it be John, please?
We'll see how that conversation shakes out, but I don't think any of us would be against Sean being on that roster, regardless.
I mean, we're talking about we're going to talk about that at some point, like off screen, before we bring up the awards. So I mean, let's wait for that to happen.
Yeah, but yeah, Sean, what an
Okay.
absolute fucking Chad, and I mean that in the best of ways.
He's not a Chad, he's a Kyle.
Okay, the fuck.
Can't say I entirely know the difference, but regardless.
Neither do I, and you're wrong, me piece of John.
Was I saying Sean? My bad. Yeah, John
Arbuckle.
John's the master. John's the shadow. Sean's the doll. I said it once. I'll say it again. Damn you, Shadow House, and your naming conventions.
I loved him and Ricky, or no, it was Sean and Ricky that were holding each other when Sean just went out in front of the ball. They're like, no.
Yeah. Also,
yeah, it was great.
So this actually gets me to what I really want to talk about in this episode, and it is both the culmination of Ricky's bullshit catching up to him, and kind of the resolution and kind of the redemption. Not fully, because he's still an asshole when he approaches Kate and Emilico. The fucking shit-eating grin on his face is palpable and quite punchable. However...
I mean, that's just kind of his face, from what I understand.
No, because that's how he thinks Ricky wants to be presented.
Well, yeah, definitely at the same time, but you can't say he's still smug. He has learned humility through all this. He has so many lessons of humility.
It's not even humility. I'll get right to you, Meep. I don't think it's humility. I think it's that he's realizing he doesn't have to be alone. And I think that's a very big mental shift for him. It's not him and Patrick against the world, but that things like, the Emilico effect. And yeah, Meep, sorry, what were you saying?
I was just going to say, although I will say, and maybe this just may have been a thing, like, because his character expects it. When he was like, you don't believe me? When he was like, when Sean was like, wait, why do you have those shears? He's like, you don't believe me? It's like, he shouldn't fucking believe you. You've done nothing but been untrustworthy to him.
Yeah, no, but at the same time, he has a point, because Sean immediately went like, you fucking killed her and took them, didn't you? And he's like, you know what? I can't tell anything to fucking convince you, so I'm just gonna fucking leave.
But it was more than that, because Ricky understood how much he's fucked over himself with everyone else. He's still shitty. There has not been a character redemption to specify. That's not what I'm saying. Like, oh, Ricky's okay now. Like, no, Ricky's still shit, but he's learning the error of his ways, and more importantly, he's realizing that he doesn't have to keep behaving like that. There's another way. There is another way. He knows the way now. To the Queen of Emilico. But regardless, he walked away offended because he's like, I swear on Master Patrick's pride that I am telling the truth. And Sean, being the bullhead that he is, still didn't believe him. It was a great conflict of character flaws, and this show, what the fuck, Shadow's House? Why are you so good?
He's so fucking good, and it's not even he swore on his pride. He swore on his Shadow Master, period. On everything he is, that he is not lying.
And that is big for Ricky.
That is big for any one of them.
And then he and Sean basically did the equivalent, or not John, he and Sean did the equivalent of doing the scared hug as they watch something horrifying happen.
Yeah, and Ricky just crying because he's holy shit. Ricky crying that he's about to die, but also fucking begging them to take care of their master in his stead.
Yeah, no, he
Wow.
was fully prepared to die there.
Just wow.
God, that was such a powerful moment.
Like, it didn't even hit me that well when I was watching it, but like talking about it with you guys right now, I'm just like, it's hitting me how well made that scene was. Not just in the emotions, but the characters driving the emotions instead of the emotions driving the characters. And that's a really important distinction.
Yeah, and Emiliko, being the being she is, doesn't even hold any ill feelings to him.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And it's nice to see that not only Ricky is. So I think Ricky is, I make that joke all the time, but now we're at Ricky become human. But Patrick learned humility, Makan. If any character learned humility, it was Patrick. Certainly wasn't Luis.
Yeah, no, okay, maybe learning humility is not the right word for Ricky, but he's certainly been humbled.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Patrick being humbled and learning humility as well. A debt has been incurred. A debt must be paid. Giving her the shears to save Kate, which I want to like. If you guys want to talk about it, we could talk about it. But I want to talk about the fucking Emilico and Kate scene last because
But
that
at last, then,
um. But I'm so happy to hear that you two also like have just like watched this episode and are like, holy fucking shit! Patrick, Ricky, Sean, John.
Yeah, no, Sean, Patrick and Ricky, they were really good this episode. I'm I'm interested to see more from Rum and Shirley, but
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm I'm curious to see how they're going to make Shirley emote and express, because it does very much seem like she is mute and you can't really read her face. That's what's both fascinating and I think a detriment to her as a character, because as of now, they just feel like a part of Rum's character and they don't feel like their own, which I hope they find a way to make her be like at least express in some way. Like it doesn't have to be like, oh, she's actually super extroverted, but just I don't
I
know.
I am on the opposite spectrum because
Really?
her being unable to speak or choosing not to speak for whatever reason, the fact that she's not getting angry or angry, anxious, or upset as well by her not emitting soot. I mean, like, just the fact of that alone makes her the most intriguing shadow for me because we don't know what's happening with her, and I want to know
She
so badly.
she is an enigma, to be sure. I think this episode did it right, and I agree with you, Meep. Like Shirley is a non-character thus far, but it is building that intrigue, as you can see with Makan. Uh, and I think the show's working. I trust the show to give us a payoff if they don't fucking kill the two. Because I still part of me still feels that they're gonna kill Rob and Shirley. I don't know. Just I think I'm much less. I think that's much less of a possibility after this episode. But in this episode, they kind of alluded to what you're talking about, me. At least I think so. They showed Rum's growth, which was great, right? You saw Rum, and she's like now smiling, and she's like engage, like once again trying to engage her shadow with more enthusiasm and dedication. And the scene of like delicate, like the delicate scene of them like reuniting, and even like the commentary from the Shadow Masters, like the Shadow Masters, the nobles, like all that really kind of gave me the sense of like, okay, so we got the payoff. Unlike with fucking Takamichi, we got the payoff of Rum's character growth speech last episode, and we're seeing it executed here. Also, it's really cool. They never said it out loud, but if you've ever seen poison ivy growing in the wild, that is what she is surrounded by. If you look at the leaves and the flowers, that's it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I just with Shirley as it is now, I don't find myself wanting to know more, but I'm still open to know more about her. It's just not something that I'm not like you with her Makan where you're like, oh, I want to know more so much. I'm just here like, if we get more, we get more. If we don't,
Well, Rum is the cutest out of every fucking doll we have here, and I want to see her be happy. So I want to see what the fuck Shirley's about and see her like just be kindly praising her for all her good work. This bean deserves good.
It is because she's the loveliest and softest of the beings that I feel like the show, and I want, and I want her to be happy. Is why I fear the show just killing her off, because I know how anime do.
Oh, this isn't Vivy.
Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm gonna look at my notes because I've just been talking this whole time. Oh, we talked about every shadow, so let's talk about Lou and Louise. Fuck Louise, she's a cunt. But Lou's voice is very cute.
It is. I love how sincere she was and how thankful she was for Ricky's help.
Yeah, and like,
all of it because he did help her a lot.
yeah, and like we talked about Ricky becoming human. Lou is kind of like coming. She even said like, "This is a surprise to me too. I didn't expect. I never thought I'd do something like this for someone, but I like you, and here I want to help you." And I'm like, ah, Meep, now you can ship.
When it comes to that scene, the thing I actually liked the most was Ricky going like, "No, I can't do that. There's still a Shadow Master. I would both fail as a doll and at the debut." And I was like, okay, so Patrick isn't completely up his own ass.
Ricky.
No, Ricky isn't completely up his own ass.
But at the same time, that means that if any other circumstances that Louise wasn't a Shadow Master and was just another doll, he would have fucking killed her.
Yeah.
So if my anime
Attempted
list,
murder.
oh sorry,
No, I just made the joke. I went attempted murder.
so if my anime list is not incorrect, and I'll double check it right now, my hunch was right because I was thinking about it when I complimented Lou's voice, and I'm like, apart from Emilico and Kate, all the shadows and all the shadows and dolls have the same voice talent behind them. They're the same voice talent. They just play two different characters, and I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly hear the similarities in Kate and Emilico.
No, Kate
John
and
and
Emilico,
John.
ironically, are not the same voice actor.
Oh, they're not.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I can certainly hear it in John and Sean at least, but that's about it.
It doesn't list Louise as a character. Or oh wait, no, the more cast. Let me check it out. Lou is voiced.
By the way, chat, the
Louise
whole time I've been
voice.
talking, did my voice sound bad? Because I have my AC on. It's a 97-degree day, and I do not want to be doing this while sweating. So, if my voice was choppy, if it was getting compressed and suppressed, please let me know.
I start hearing like slightly at some point, but it's fine. It's really barely noticeable.
They do have the same voice actor.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking. I just saw like 3 shows at once all go up a tick in rating. Tokyo Revengers went up, Shadow's House went up, and Vivy went up in rating all at the same time. I was like, oh.
Yeah. No. Goddamn. On the. Can I just IMBD? Why you okay behind the voice actor?
They do have the same voice actor. I checked.
Yeah, did you? I checked on my MLS. Did you check any other sources? Because since my my anime list is user submitted. Well,
I mean,
in the English dub, it's similar.
That should be correct because moderators have to look over the submission before they decide which one it is.
Okay. Anyway, yeah, no, I'm sorry, chat and viewers. Something we probably should have checked beforehand, but it only occurred for me to do so now. So in real time, yeah, the shadows and dolls all share a voice except for Miliko and Kate, which makes sense because they're our protagonists. And I wonder if, like, with that meta knowledge, if that means something special for them. Ooh.
Probably. I mean, I've always felt like there's going to be something special between Kate and Miliko. If only how vastly different in personality they seem to be compared to everyone else.
Want to know what I think it is?
Tell us.
Kate has that one doll that's really special to her. I'm betting Emiliko isn't her first doll.
Oh, that'd be sad. I was going with something more along the lines of like Emiliko is Kate's actual personality that she's afraid to show. But
Yeah, I, I, I'd agree that would be very sad to me, but at the same time,
I can see it.
I don't think that's the case because all the shadows only get $1, right? And that's the entire point. If they fail the debut, they die.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like
Well, there was that one thing that Miwa's
Sarah,
dolls or
yeah.
shadow said that like grandfather could just discard you at any moment. So I think it might be possible where she could add another one, but they were disobedient and grandfather went hippity hoppity. You are now in the incinerator.
Oof.
I mean, we saw the incinerator in the fucking episode where Emiliko gets sprayed with water.
Yeah. It's yeah,
Something to think about.
It is. I am very curious. Also, yeah, you got me a thinking. You got me doing a thunk.
Yeah. Are we ready to talk about the Kate and Emiliko scene?
Let's see.
I think we are. I think we've covered most of everything else.
I already mentioned how Ryan is an insufferable ass hair. The princess Shadow has big booba.
Big booba, butterfly lady,
Big
horny as
booba.
fuck.
I want to see her doll come out.
You see her face. Yeah, no one liked.
Your tits.
Everyone disliked Butterfly Lady. The gothic music at the beginning.
I have morbid enjoyment of it.
Okay. The gothic music at the beginning of the show when they were like panning on the garden. When they were like,
oh wait, we didn't mention grandfather.
oh, that's right. Grandfather with his ominous, menacing chuckle at the end of the episode.
He feels like we haven't gotten enough from him for me to make a judgment, but as it is now, he seems like, run of the mill. I am the one who is in charge of everything, and I am calm and collected. Like we again, we haven't seen enough of him for me to make an actual judgment, but that's just the implication I get. Which I'm just sitting here going, Edward is such a good. I really like Edward as an antagonist.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
great, but like as far as the grandfather goes, we heard him speak, but really we've got no more context than we have before when we've just been told about him. So I don't really have anything to say about him.
What I did notice is that grandfather doesn't seem to be caught up in the petty bullshit that the other ones are caught up in.
True.
Because like his whole thing where it's just like everyone's like fretting like, oh, is everyone going to pass? Well, that can't be. And Ryan being like, someone needs to die, otherwise this will be a waste of my time. And then fucking the episode just ends with him going, and I'm like, all right, cool, all right, where are we gonna go, Grandpapa? What are you gonna do?
Listen, I just can't wait to see Edward fist fight one of the kids.
Also, I like that.
Why do you need to die? Wait, hold on.
Shine.
It's like one of the boxing matches.
I need to turn off push talk for this. Why do you need to die?
It's like one of the boxing matches in Megalobox where you see them ducking and weaving back and forth.
Emilico fist fights fucking Edward. Man. Oh man. Okay, so I know we shouldn't do this, but if Meep got away with it last week, I'm gonna get away with it too. I really liked. Quick note on Vivy. I really liked how Matsumoto referred to Vivy as the bare knuckle brawler android, and I'm like, yeah, let's go.
Oh right. I also like how he ganked his master's name.
Yeah.
I just call him Doctor and me Matsumoto.
It's Matsumoto. Yeah.
That is good.
He's like, what the fuck?
You're
no.
out of line. Yeah, you're out of line. I don't care.
Anyway, yeah, like that's what. Yeah. Emilico and Kate, right? Can I just permission to open this up with a question?
Sure thing.
Cool. That was really cool, but how the fuck did they do that? Like, how the fuck did they make it?
I will quote JoJo's part 3, but really, really, really fast. Natural talent.
Yeah. No, I mean, I thought like she was gonna cut through there, and then she's just gonna have to abandon that and come up with a new plot, and was just gonna grab the wagon and like try and catch her in it. It was like I saw the flowers in it like a few episodes ago. I'm like, that seems soft.
Yeah. But like Emilico, the scene was really cool, and my God, did they put so much effort and attention into animating Emilico's facial expressions when she rejoined with Kate?
Oh yeah.
That was so fluid and nice.
It was a really nice scene. I enjoyed it. They're cute. Oh,
But this bitch just runs across the crane, does a fucking like 180, jumps through the fucking soot. Kate had a bunch of time to react. Like, this was such anime bullshit.
I love it.
Natural talent? Question mark. Oh wow! I can't believe you breathed so good that she died.
Yeah, for the record, I'm not upset about
a
it.
good-
I just remember watching it and being like, man, this looks so cool, but what the fuck?
No, I loved every second of it. It was so great. Just the struggling of trying to cut down the forest with her imperfect tools. The depth we're paid making it so she has the right tool. Getting through the crane means she needs the rest of the fucking keys on the key ring. Her just going like, you know, fuck it, we're doing it live.
Yeah,
It's great.
Emilia goes crazy.
Yeah. With that, though, is there anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah. Emilico's apparently super durable, so I like she's like, yeah, I'm not smart, but I'm strong, and I'm like, cool, Emilico, live your best life.
I mean, she fell out of like a 3-story window before.
It's totally
She
okay.
was fine.
Yeah, fine, absolutely fine. Also, that shot of Emilico when she first picks up the shears, when she's about to start getting ready to cut the forest down, is so fucking intimidating.
A knife.
Emilico's got a knife. No! She looks like she's ready to fuck shit up.
That's gonna be how she fights Edward. She's just gonna cut.
Cuts him in fucking half.
Oh no! Prediction. You said a Shadow Master's clothes aren't supposed to get damaged, right? After his shadow comes out. No!
No! Also,
I'm
something
gonna be so upset if I'm actually right. I'm gonna be so mad.
you're gonna have the same moment I had with fucking fuck, what was that garbage anime last year? The CG one? X-Arms.
X-Arm?
Yeah, you're gonna have the same moment as I did with X-Arm where I audibly went, I was kidding!
See, I feel like you can have those I was kidding, but in a good way. I had that with Killing Bites.
Hmm.
And then they fuck. 5 seconds later, I was kidding!
But there was one scene that we didn't talk about, and it was the Starbearers ringing their bells in congratulations to the people who passed their debut, and Barbie still looks like the miserable, angry little cunt that she is.
I want to see her Shadow Master
Well,
really badly.
She's her face, right? So does that imply that that's the Shadow Master's face during this moment, or is she just...
I want her Shadow Master to be really sweet and bubbly.
That would be hilarious. But I don't think you could become a Starbearer being that way.
I want her Shadow Master to be Demon Lord Malim.
Because, like, the fucking Ryan fucking prick did the whole participation trophy speech where it's just like, oh, what, are we going to make everyone into Starbearers? We might as well give away the badge. And I'm like, ugh, you. I actively dislike Ryan.
Oh yeah, another note of I wanted to point out that I kind of forgot until you just mentioned the Starbearers when Luis and Lou got to the finish line and Barbie was there just waving the bells on. Just how fucking pissed she looks.
I know, that's exactly what I meant. Fucking just miserable creature.
Yeah.
Fucking grinding her teeth, staring at them.
Because she hated Lou too, right? She said Lou was the only good, like this broken piece of... Well, no, she was talking about Rum.
Yeah, no, I think she mentioned that Lou was the only decent one out of them. I think she also thought Ricky was decent, but...
Well, Ricky was decent because he had brown on his nose.
Yeah.
Looking at my notes. Looking at my notes. Looking at my notes. Um. Yeah. No. Yeah. I mean. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Fine. Yeah. I'm ready for cards. I'm ready for cards.
Yeah. I don't think I have anything else to bring up after that. I'm certainly interested to see where this goes next and how she's gonna get Kate to the exit in time with so little time left. But we shall see what brilliant plans Little Miss Sunshine comes up with as I am fucking the show because it is absolutely brilliant. I was not hot on it at the beginning, but good God, is it good when it picked up speed.
Yeah, I remember near the beginning, like it was kind of like even a couple weeks ago I felt like it was super obvious, like, okay, I think you two are going to be, because I like to think about sometimes, like, what show are they gonna end up betrothed to? Now I'm actually not sure.
I'll be honest with you, homie. I don't know either.
See,
I wonder what one is going to be mine.
Oh, gee, what a
I
mystery.
have
Okay,
no idea how will I ever figure it out.
if To Your Eternity was on this list, it would actually be a debate.
Wow, Meep. I wonder what it could be. You've left us with such a mystery. However will we solve it?
Again, if To Your Eternity was on this list, it would be more of a mystery.
But it fucking ain't, though, is it?
It isn't, unless you allow me to marry shows that aren't on the list.
No, fuck off with that bullshit. It's time for cards.
We marry within the family, like true aristocrats.
What the
True
fuck?
Shadow Masters!
Oh.
Your face!
God damn it. What the shit?
And like the Shadow Masters, I'm gonna fuck my face and fuck Shadow's house.
Holy shit! That took a turn.
I love that we saved all the gremlin energy for the end of this season, for this session, for this episode. I think that's what makes Shadow House so good. It doesn't take itself too seriously, but just seriously enough. And I'm realizing that it does its characters incredibly well. Fuck. Huge fuck. Like, I say this every week. Each week I go into Shadow House not expecting to love it as much as I do. Now, granted, this time I'm already noticing, I'm like, okay, cool, time for Shadow House. Let's do it. It's gonna be a good time. But each time I am still surprised by how much I've enjoyed this show and each episode. It does its characters incredibly well, and its pacing is surprisingly really good for how diverse the cast is. And by diverse the cast is, I mean like how many people there are, how many different things there are to focus on, and it never feels like, man, what about that character? What about that character? Because like I don't know, the show's done a pretty good job at like making sure that things are gonna be addressed in due time. I never feel like I'm not gonna get what I don't want from this show, and that's a huge fucking testament because oftentimes I find myself having to make compromises with shows. I do it with Vivy, I do it with other shows all the time. The whole Emilico Kate scene reuniting was so soft and sweet. I don't remember if John being like, I can't go back there, like, I can't show my face in front of Kate until I succeed, and just being a flustered fuck. I don't remember if that was this episode or last episode, but it came into play in this. It was this episode?
Yeah.
Yeah. This episode, yeah.
Yeah, fucking John being like, are you gonna come help me? I can't show my face to Kate until I succeed on my promise, and in reality it's like, yeah, I can't fucking go see her right now, I'm a fucking mess.
No, the thing was like there was like at the gate with the bowling light, he's like, well, we could like go around and like go around the long way, we can see if we can help Kate, and Emilio, he's like, nah, I can't show my face there.
Yeah. Man, this show's good. The whole Kate scene, while I think was ridiculous, was great. The whole anxiety, and like the whole time I was like shouting, like, stop fucking being anxious, Kate. I have anxiety. I know that's not how it works, but stop. I really like this show.
To quote you from earlier, well, that's the thing about depression.
That's the thing about depression. That's the thing about anxiety, kids. Sometimes it can't. Sometimes you gotta ride the wave out. Unfortunately, the wave hit Kate when she was about to fall to her failure. I don't think she would have died. I think she just would have gotten hurt. I honestly was expecting her soot powers. Oh, sorry.
Her clothes would have definitely gone scuffed, which means she would have failed.
Yeah. I give this 0 horny mothwomans out of mothwomans, and I give this episode 10 Emilico Sunshines out of Sunshine. I fucked that bit up. Anyway, fucking this episode. I really enjoy this show. And I think that leaves us with a trifecta for this episode of Shadow's House.
Yeah, I just need to say as well, from what I think you enjoy Shadow's House and how you don't need to make compromises. I think the show knows its limits and what it can do, and it, instead of trying to spread itself too thin, focuses on doing what it can do and does good.
I also think the pacing of moment to moment is very coherent, and in return becomes very good. Everything is given the time it needs to kind of, really hit the mark without really. You can always make things better, but sometimes it's good to just know when to stop, just to know when to move on.
Something I find funny now that we've gotten all of the votes out there. Last week was the best episode of Tokyo Revengers. I feel like all of us said, or at the very least, I know me and you felt that, Dal. The week before that, we all felt was the weakest, and now this is the first episode of Tokyo Revengers to get a kill. Oh no!
Tokyo Revengers.
It's by the person who locked it.
You're on thin fucking ice, motherfucker. We liked you a lot. Each time we're like, why is this show so fucking good? What right does it have? Who gave Tokyo fucking Revengers to be the right to be so compelling? But
yeah, and you said the last episode was the best episode. I still think I think it's the second, or is it the first episode is the best. The one where Takemichi just smashes a bottle and threatens to kill 3 kids.
It's not the best episode. It's just it might be the best moment or your favorite moment.
It's the best moment of Takemichi, and that's what I'm fucking there for.
Yeah, fair.
And this episode left you feeling like you were never gonna get that, and I feel you.
Yeah, it feels like that's long gone. It's a thing to get people hyped, and then they abandoned it.
I've always had reservations when it came to Takemichi, and kind of like I've quoted Pro ZD on the regarding him so much. It's just like when you're watching a shonen anime and the protagonists, you're trying to introduce your friend to an anime you like, but the protagonist sucks in the beginning, and it's like, oh, I'm gonna pee my pants, I'm so scared. Like, oh, I'm a virgin, and she was my one girlfriend in middle school. Like, I've always hated that part of Takemichi, and I'm okay with him growing and developing. It's just,
I don't want it to take 50 episodes.
Yeah.
Especially in a 24-episode season.
Yeah,
we should have definitely gotten somewhere at this point.
Yeah. It's we're on episode 9. And to answer the question that you're about to say, me, but I don't think we have time for outside thing.
I certainly don't with how late we started today.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Then all I'll say is watch through Shield Hero. It was good. Actually started Megalobox Nomad. It is good. Yeah, all I have to say.
Yeah, I need to watch Nomad. And Shield Hero, Rising of Shield Hero is pretty good. It's one of my favorite kind of like isekais out there. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. First of all, Meep, Makan, thank you so much for joining everyone, being here, and everyone in chat. Yay. And everyone in chat, thank you so much for coming through and hanging out. I appreciate people. I know we're so mean to Takemichi. I know Shadow House is great, but like, honestly, having you guys come hang out and watch the shows alongside us and tell us what you think is honestly half the fun.
The show is a lot meaner to Takemichi than we are.
All right, guys, and let's blow our horns. Meep, where can they find you?
Honk. You can find
Rip
me
headphone
in
users.
Canada. You can find me in Canada making popcorn for next Saturday when 3 of our shows come out. And you
Yeah,
can find me at Twitter at soul_king777. But if you are a minor, do not follow me, or I will take your kneecaps and add them to my necklace.
his channel is filled with lewds. So which he still doesn't say himself, and I have to say for him every time.
I feel like saying no minors, or else I'll take your kneecaps.
Adults only pertains what's going on.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I feel like
maybe his channel is full of drugs and rock and roll.
then you also shouldn't be following me if you're a minor.
That's
I mean,
not.
at the same time, that's not fucking illegal for minors to fucking intake with their eyeballs, because every fucking TV show, music, and game covers that, and that's fine.
Hey, McCon.
Hi.
Con. Hey, McCon.
Hey, Dollar.
That's a good point. Where can they find you?
Somewhere.
I mean, I hope.
In the cursed 28th dimension of no return and the God has left patch in full swing, you can find me on my OnlyFans. But for now, in this dimension we are in, you will have to settle for Twitter at that_Viking, where I don't do much. I reposted some possums lately, but that was like half a week ago.
All right. And as always, you guys can catch me here on Dalaron Quest. That's DALARON Quest. If you guys are watching this live, you're already here. You are where you need to be. If you're watching it on YouTube, it should be rather easy to do, as my name is the same there as it is here. Also, Twitter. But yes, guys, thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for hanging out. We ran a little late today. We started a little late today. I am back in my apartment, so the internet is good, and we will be able to do more streams. But until then, take care and have a good one. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.